Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Wow, what a special Thursday episode we have for you all today. Curtis Granderson's on the show today.
Grandy! Howdy, babe.
The Grandy Man.
Grand Giving. It's the month of Grand Giving, folks.
Yeah. So we've got Curtis Granderson on the program today. We have Family Feud on the program today. We have the return of the MVP CY Young Hindsight segment, which is an off-season favorite of the BID listeners on behalf of Justin Havens, who's, I'm sure, very, very eager to ruin the legacies of many great men. It's just...
Yeah, only 2 this time. But yeah, we're going to dig in.
Yeah, we sure are. We sure are. And also, it's some hardware has been handed out this week.
Sure has.
Yeah. So I would like to start there first and foremost. And being someone who does work with MLB Network, I give them the utmost credit for getting certain players to show up for these award announcements, because you know that they have no chance of winning and they still show up anyway. So someone is super talented on that MLB Network side of things to be able to convince the athlete. It would be good for you if you did this. But knowing me, like if I were nominated, if I were a Cy Young finalist in the National League this year, I'm pulling a Yamamoto and saying, yeah, I don't know, the time difference in Japan, can't quite pull it off. Sorry. And not showing, like, why? Like, why would I sit there to watch someone else's hand get raised? I'm not doing that.
Well, so that's different when you're thinking about a Yamamoto as opposed to
he could figure it out and set his alarm.
No. You're not. This has nothing to do with availability, my friend. This has nothing to do with availability. You hold on. I won 3 of these motherfuckers in a row. Like, you want me to care about? I'm out. Sorry, man. No, I'm good. Like, I'm not in the conversation for this one. I thank you, and I appreciate you very much. I'm not sure if you just watched October, but I'm still fucking riding that high. Okay, so I don't need to come to Vegas. I don't need to be on stream. I don't need anything from you. I just want to remind you who I am. I just want to remind you where I came from, and I just want to remind you of what I just did. So thank you, but no thank you. I'm going to be doing some other things. Now you've got a guy like, what's that?
Hunter
now you got
Brown.
a guy like Christopher Sanchez, though, right? Does Christopher Sanchez have anywhere near the amount of proverbial dirt under his spikes that a Yamamoto does? And I'm not telling you that because he doesn't, he should have to sit there and go through that, but it would benefit him greatly to continue to put his personality on display and maybe even be able to show how gracious he is in a moment where he is not going to be receiving the award or the accolade, but the acknowledgement itself can definitely turn you into a fan if you get to see how Christopher Sanchez is able to digest the questions that are being asked. You're going to learn a little bit more about him in terms of his mindset with Peeve, the fucking former Cy Young guy, teeing him up and having those conversations. So I think for a guy like Christopher Sanchez and anybody else who might not be a Yamamoto type status, I think it benefits them for those reasons. Because if you're somebody on the West Coast who's just heard about Christopher Sanchez and maybe saw a couple games, and now you sit down and hear him speak the way he did and be as gracious as he was, then maybe you walk away a fan. But you don't even have that opportunity if Christopher Sanchez doesn't give you that opportunity and doesn't allow himself to experience that. And I think about what happened with the A's. Speaking of, I love this. Speaking of award season, let's talk about the Athletics. You got Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson in Hawaii at a teammate's wedding. Mm-hmm. And those 2 dudes at the same time have to break away from the group and be like, hey, sorry, Sodi, I got to take off. Hey, where you going, Willie? I'm going up to my room. Where you going, Kurtzy? I'm going up to my room. Oh, what are they going to do? And it's like, well, did Jacob Wilson need to go? Pretty sure he understood the assignment. Pretty sure everybody understood that assignment. But you get to hear Jacob Wilson talk about what it means to just be considered, to be a part of that conversation. And if that doesn't happen, well, maybe you don't know as much about Jacob Wilson, aside from the fact that he looks like he's spazzing out in the fucking batter's box. So now you get to learn a little bit more. So I can understand like not wanting to run yourself through that gamut, but there's a bigger perspective to take here. And I think for young players who are just entering a national conversation and would like to be perennial presence in those conversations, it benefits you.
Jay, do you have a take on this?
I just thought it was funny when, we build up all this drama, and I know at some point you have to, the drama's over and you just have to tell us who won. But, the Doug Drabeck montage into Doug Drabeck announcing the award. It's like, well, this isn't going to be anybody. Like, I know we already knew it was Paul Skenes, but it's just like, I don't know. It just struck me as funny. I don't have a hot take about the availability of guys. If it was me, I would, I think you're going to lose established people on this sort of stuff, like super established guys, but the guys who are maybe not yet award winners and who maybe don't have it's easy to say that Yamamoto can look down on this because of what he just did in the World Series. And we're all in agreement that what he did in the World Series is more important than the individual Cy Young award. But there is an element of like, I haven't won this award yet here. And like, I haven't been here for 12 years. So I do feel like, unless you've won it, show up sort of thing would be where I would lean.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, that's why I respect a Hunter Brown, where it's like, all right, you have no shot. Like right. You're a finalist. You had a great year. That's awesome. Congratulations. But there is a 0.000% chance that you are going to win. And he still showed up. He still answered the questions. Good sport.
That speaks. Sorry. I just
go.
Because I know Hunter. That's why I'm a fan of this dude. And that's why I think other people who know him are also a fan of him. He's excited about being acknowledged to that extent. He understands that he's not going to win. Is the season that Hunter Brown put together something he should not be proud of? Is that something he should be ashamed of?
No.
Abso-fucking-lutely not.
No.
So it's almost like, what am I going to do? I'm going to retreat inward because other people feel a certain way about them not being winners. Fuck that. I'm damn proud of the work I put in. I got beat out by a guy who just won it for the second time. First time that's happened in 25 fucking years. That's who I lost to. No problem. Like I continue to put myself in this conversation. And that's why I fucking love a guy like Hunter Brown. Yeah, I'm going to acknowledge the work that I've done. I'm also going to acknowledge with class the fact that I came up short. But ultimately, it's because I got beat out by an absolute horse. This guy's a fucking unicorn. This guy's putting together a Hall of Fame resume as we speak in Skenes Skubal. So anybody that's in that conversation should be damn proud of the work that they put in and take advantage of this opportunity to, again, either reintroduce or introduce yourself to people who are just catching wind of what you're capable of. This is going to be a dude who, once he hits the free agent market and starts to knock on those doors, we're going to be talking a lot about. And it's because of what we're seeing him put together right now. So what other time would we be able to slob on Hunter Brown outside of a Cy Young conversation or a week building up to the acknowledgement of who's going to win that award? So I fucking love dudes just like that who are like, yeah, I'm proud of what I've done. I get it that the dude in the square sitting next to me on your TV is going to walk home with it. But fuck yeah, you want to talk about what I've done? Let's talk.
Well, I also think we're focusing on the fact that, he's not going to win. But to your point, him being there represents, I finished third. I finished ahead of Max Fried, who just got $200 million. I finished ahead of Rodon, who's on the, 160 whatever million dollar contract, finished ahead of DeGrom, who people will make a Hall of Fame case for. You're talking about future payments. Yes, no, this appearance doesn't matter, but there is an acknowledgement. I didn't win, but yeah, I finished third in a loaded class, and to be around these guys, I think is I'm going to claim that bronze medal or whatever. And why the hell wouldn't you?
And I can tell you right now, I'm not going to speak for Hunter. I mean, I've spoke to him since the announcement and stuff, but Like short of just walking off screen and starting to do push-ups and get into a fucking workout routine, like right there, like the dude is foaming at the mouth, frothing, right? Like not pissed off, but excited about the challenge that lays in front of him. And that was something that when I sat down with these guys during the Slab Lab interviews all throughout the season, each and every one of these guys that I sat down with, that's where their mindset is where I just want to continue to compete and get better. I've seen all the dudes that you've sat down and talked to, Dallas, and those are dudes that I've watched. Those are dudes that I admire from afar. Those are guys that I take note of. And each and every one of these dudes is just motivated by their greatness and motivated by the greatness of their opponents that they would like to achieve. And that's a mindset for me that I am strongly attracted to and excited to see when it comes along with the young talent. And that's, for me, that's a guy like Hunter Brown.
Shout out to Hunter Brown. But also shout out to the winners. That would be Paul Skenes, Tarek Skubal. And these are two dudes that, I mean, famously last year, the Rookie of the Year award, Paul Skenes was just like, you know, like, whoa. And Skubal this year was like, you know, hey, you're back-to-back Cy Young Award winner. And he was just like, you know, like, do you remember when Scherzer went on? And I think it was when he won his third or whatever it was. And he's fucking popping a bottle of champagne on TV all over MLB Network's cameras. Like, that's a first ballot Hall of Famer doing that. Like, well, I'm not saying that it's everyone is entitled to their own reaction, but it just goes to show you that greatness can be wired differently in a multitude of ways. Like, Scherzer is a psycho, but he's not a robot. Like, he's going to celebrate his big victories. And then you have someone like Skubal, who, like you just pointed out, first back-to-back Cy Young Award winner since what, Pedro in 99, 2000?
2000.
And I tweeted, he reacted like he had just been told that the sun is coming up tomorrow. And he was just like,
Jared,
you know, and I was like, he's already thinking about the next one.
Already thinking about the next one. I fucking called the third one, right? This dude is already working out and playing catch again. Do you understand that? Like, he was already grinding the axe about 15 minutes after the last pitch was thrown in the World Series. I know he was working out prior to that. That's the kind of mentality. That's the mindset that we're talking about right now. So when you talk about greatness being wired differently, sure, but it's not that Skubal is unappreciative or doesn't accept the acknowledgement that comes along with it. Like, and
it's expected.
It's expected because of the work he puts in. And I want to take the time to congratulate him and his entire team. And when I say his entire team, I do mean the Tigers, because he talks a lot about just the importance of his teammates and what they mean to him as a motivating group, but the team outside of the Detroit Tigers as well. The team that he utilizes and leans on and leverages to prepare himself to go into a full season. Coach Zinger, holler at Zinger, who like if you got a look at those folks that were behind Skubal in his in his presser or whatever, like his family, shout out Nana, who was there as well. But he's bringing everybody with him. Like, he is a perfect example of a tide that raises all boats in the port. He is that dude. We're coming. This isn't my award. This is our award. And when somebody like him has that kind of mentality, he's already on to the next one. Because he knows, like, buddy, everybody behind me eats because I eat. And you think I'm letting them starve? Ain't happening.
I'm watching back the Skenes reaction, and you could, like, he's a robot. Like, you can tell he was like, all right, you're winning tonight. Let's talk about what we're going to do when they say your name. And they said Paul Skenes, and he was like,
yeah.
It's like, we got to do something with our hands.
Well, he was,
got to go in for the Livy Dunn hug, kiss situation. And then, yeah, it's...
He was more excited to tell homeboy behind him that who was it? Somebody acknowledged that his friend was in the background, and he was like, "Yeah, hey, Clark's here." He was like, "Tell Clark I said hi." And Paul was like, hey, Clark, you just shouted you out, man. Yeah. And then Paul was like, yeah, everybody's here. Clark's here. Like, it's great. Great to have everybody here. Shout out Clark too.
Yeah. Shout out Clark, man. He's always doing it big.
Ever present.
Yeah. It was a fun night. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought, it's, what my first thought was, Jay Hay, was if we're still doing this show 10, 15 years from now, you're not going to have to take the awards away from these guys. Yeah, they got it right. They very clearly got it right. Yeah, like you're just going to do a history of how great these two seasons were between Skubal and Skenes, and those awards will stay safely in their trophy cases.
I just want to throw out some quick little, I won't even call them nuggets. I'll call them crumbs, little nuggy crumbs, if you will. Okay. But just like, kind of like Jay Hay, like I was just sitting down last night thinking about moments in their season and stuff. What's crazy? Just off the top of your head without looking, eyes up. How many double-digit strikeout games did Paul Skenes have?
2,
Jay says 3. What do you say, Jared?
I said 2, 3.
He had 1.
1?
He had 1. Fucking 1, right? He had 1, which is crazy. 1. But he also had 14 games of 5 innings or more without allowing a earned run. So that's almost half of his starts, right? 32 starts. Almost half of those. 5 innings or more without allowing an earned run. Pretty sexy. And for Skubal, he had 12 games of 6 innings or more, 0 earned runs allowed. He had 10 double-digit strikeout games. 10 double-digit strikeout games for Skubal. The only team to beat Skubal twice was Seattle out of everybody that he pitched against. He damn near blanked the AL East. He did not pitch against the Rays. He got touched up by the Red Sox. Still a 6 1/3 inning performance, 11 punch-outs in that game, but did yield 5 earned runs. Those were the only earned runs he allowed against the AL East. Again, he didn't pitch against Tampa. So everybody else, New York, Baltimore, just nothing. They got nothing. New York, Baltimore, Toronto, no earned runs. Absolutely dominant. And then obviously, Jay Hay, for me, the highlight game for Skubal was when he completely bent over the Guardians and just became the proctologist, shoved it directly up their ass. The last pitch he threw was 103 miles an hour, a 94 pitch CG shut peaks, a Maddu, if you will. So yeah, these dudes are just fucking, they are so far and away at times just better than everybody else on the diamond. When they're on the diamond, it is so much fun to watch. So that was
I'm going to ask you guys both a question, and it's not yes or no. I need a percentage. Understood?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I already know one of these answers for me is 100%. Percentage chance that Paul Skenes wins another Cy Young Award during his career.
I'm putting 100% on both of these.
Both. I think Skubal has a very high percentage, but I think I'm less likely to go 100% on Skubal than I am on Skenes. Like Skenes, I'm 100%. He's going to win another one. I think it's more of a compliment to the field in the American League.
Sure.
Then he's clearly not getting worse.
No,
well, that's why I think he will open as the favorite to win again next year.
But think about the names we're just throwing around and talking about right now. You drop a Max Fried, right? Hey, hello, is this thing on? Brian Wu, big part of that conversation as well.
Hello, how about fucking Garrett Crochet? Like he was almost just as good as Skubal was this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they literally in terms of first place and second place votes, those are the two dudes who gobbled them up.
Yeah.
Hunter Brown. Like these are guys that we're talking about becoming perennial contenders.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why the pathway for either of these individuals is going to be daunting year in and year out. But you're also talking about both of these individuals being alphas among alphas. So that's why I have no problem saying, look, if we're talking about the cream rising to the top, or we're talking about the ultimate competitors finding a way to separate themselves, these are two dudes in Skenes and Skubal who have already proven the ability to do so.
All right.
Jay.
I'm going to have to say that the answer is not 100% for either one of these guys.
Odd. Fucking
pitching is too it's
You're
too
such
hard.
a fucking nerd.
I know, but there have been only 11 people all time to win 3 or more Cy Young awards. Like not AL, not NL, just 3 or more. This would be 3 straight for Skubal if he won, obviously next year. That would even be a smaller list. I would vote on both of them getting another one if I had to choose, but particularly Skenes, given the runway that he has age-wise. But like, think about this. Like, they both feel like they are on top of the world pitching-wise. Pedro in 2000 was definitively better than either one of these guys, right? Just no disputing. Pedro in 2000, different level, maybe one of the greatest pitching seasons anyone has ever put up, regardless of age. Okay, 1.74 ERA, 2.17, 217 innings pitched, 11 wins above replacement, all that sort of stuff. He was in his age 28 season at that point, so it's basically a Skubal comp in that way. He never won another Cy Young in his career,
but he should have.
Okay,
he should have won in 02.
But that's part of the conversation.
Like
that's
but like we're talking about voters that know far more, are far better at evaluating pitching performance in 2026 than they were in 2002. Like Pedro should have won again, and he already had 3, so he should have won from the field. A 4th one in 2002.
So, I think
Jared,
there is room for discussion, certainly in both of these. 2002, like I think 03, they got the right answer. So maybe he should have won another one. Maybe they shouldn't have, but like you are subject to interpretation of the voters too. And so I don't know. It's very hard to get 3 Cy Youngs. Very hard.
And that's where I would say, if to your point, Jay, if the field is now condensed and that's what you're battling against, it becomes condensed because of your point, Jared, that you think that they are more in tune with being able to evaluate these guys.
Which I agree.
So
I agree with Jared's point. I think that's right.
If the pool of talent is what it is, theoretically, doesn't that make it more difficult to separate yourself? Because it's almost like how free agency works today, right? 5 teams come to the table and offer one player a very similar contract in terms of length, in terms of AAV. And why is that? Well, because everybody pretty much has a good idea of how to evaluate these players and put them in their certain tiers. Same can be said for the voters who are looking at a Hunter Brown, Max Fried, Brian Wu, Tarek Skubal, Garrett Crochet type of field. They're going to have to get down to the nitty gritty.
If Paul Skenes never wins another Cy Young, it would be a massive fucking disappointment.
It would be a sports tragedy, Jay.
Yeah. It would, no doubt. And so like, if we're calling that 100% or calling that 99, whatever, I don't care. Like that would be a monumental upset and disappointment if he never even got one more given his age. If Skubal doesn't get one more, I think there's room for that still to be like a potentially Hall of Fame career or not a disappointment or live up to the contract that he signs. I think it would be a mild disappointment or a medium disappointment, but I don't think like given how he's like 5 years older than Skenes.
Yeah.
Yes, but also like when you said Hall of Fame, the first thing that came to my mind was Tim Lincecum and Corey Kluber, where it's like, no, you can actually win multiple, if not back-to-back Cy Young awards,
and still not
and just not get there in the conversation. But it's weird. Why is it that?
I think Johan's an interesting comp too, actually.
Sure. I mean, we've talked a lot about Johan's like falling off the ballot as quickly as he did, and
for sure. But like, I'm just saying about like not they're not the same pitcher, but like when they became good at the major league level, the level of peak that they achieved, like this is going to be like Johan won 2 and 3 years. You could argue he definitely should have won all 3 of those years. Like, I think one of those is the Bartolo season, which is just like a fucking joke.
Yeah. 02?
Yeah. What? I thought it was 05.
04? 05, yeah.
But either way, like, yeah. He Johan like had the similar type of peak to what Skubal has. He shows up on all those Skubal related lists, and like then he was just like fucking done as a pitcher after his age 31 season. And it's like you just don't know sometimes. The nasty changeup, like, I don't know. It's hard.
What I was gonna say though is, why is it like why is there such a huge difference between winning 2 and winning 3? Is it just the class that you enter once, like the names of 3+ Cy Young Award winners versus the guys that have won 2? Because it's almost like, you know, it's you can win 2 Cy Young Awards, best pitcher on planet Earth, or at least in your league, for 2 years, even consecutively, and you're just not an automatic for the Hall of Fame because you can point to Lincecum, you can point to Kluber, but you win that third one, and it's like, well, of course he's a Hall of Famer. Look at the guys that have won 3 or more. Of course, if he's in that rarefied air, then he has to be a Hall of Famer.
I love this shit. I love where you're going with this because, like, you do look at the list of people who have won 2 and won 3, and I don't think it's a confirmation bias. Like, I don't think it works like they won 3, so they're in the Cy Young. I actually think this is a good like litmus test because you look at them and like the worst pitcher to win 3 Cy Young awards is like Max Scherzer or Jim Palmer. Like that's that's kind of what it is. And the guys with 2, it is much more of a, like, I'm not going to say a mixed bag, but like you get a Blake Snell, you get the Kluber that you've talked about, Lincecum, whose peak is just so condensed, or you get a guy like Tom Glavine, who is in the Hall of Fame and nobody's disputing that, but like really never achieved the heights that we're talking about with some of these other
like
guys in terms of dominance. What's that?
He had 300 wins, Glavine.
No, I know, but like was never like, I don't think anybody ever really considered Tom Glavine to be the best pitcher in baseball at any real moment in time.
No, they never even considered him the best pitcher on his team.
On that rotation.
Right.
Rotation. So
I don't know. It's a fascinating thing. I love it.
I just pulled up. We're going to take a look at Skubal, his first 6 years, and Johan through his first 6 years. For Skubal, 137 games. For Johan, 184. 134 starts for Skubal out of those 137 games. 108 starts for Johan. Johan, in those 184 games, total accumulated 856 innings to the 766 and 2/3 for Skubal. Win-loss, pretty close. 59 and 25 for Johan up until that point. Skubal, as he sits right now, 54 and 37. ERA 3.08 for Skubal, 3.31 for Johan. ERA plus 135 for Skubal, 140 for Johan. 889 strikeouts for Skubal, 901 for Johan. As far as strikeout percentage, 29% for Skubal, basically 26% for Johan, 25.9. The walk percentage, or the walk total, 172 for Skubs, 265 for Johan. So walk percentage, 5.6 for Skubal, 7.6 for Johan. Now the awards. Neither guy had won a championship up to this point. Skubal, a 2-time All-Star. Johan just won. Each guy having netted their Cy Young awards. And Skubal with 2 ERA titles and a Triple Crown. Johan just 1 ERA title, no Triple Crown. Overall, in terms of B-WAR, 23.3 for Johan, 17.9 for Tarik Skubal.
All that says to me is that Johan Santana is just criminally underrated. Which, I don't know. I feel like I'm the old guy. You know, like now I'm the old guy telling guys like Tyler how great Johan Santana was, and it's like, yeah, sure, Grandpa. No, it's like, no, like I'm telling you, he, like, every year, that was the dude. You know, it's like, all right, Cy Young, this is the year.
we are getting closer though. And I mean, not that we haven't gotten there, but we are, I think, continuing to get closer and closer to being more accurate with the assessment and the evaluation of this stuff, because let's remember the uproar and the uprising that was looming with Felix Hernandez taking home the Cy Young with a 13-12 record, where Paul Skenes has just done it with a 500 record. So you coin flip. Nobody cares about your wins and losses anymore. What does the autopsy tell us?
Yeah.
I
also thought it was super annoying that Skenes had to answer questions about that fucking stupid report that he wants to play for the Yankees. Like, so tired. Like, save it, dude. Like, there's plenty of opportunities that you're going to get to ask him about that. The night that he wins his first Cy Young award in his second year in the big leags, not the time to be asking him about.
No.
Oh, we heard from an anonymous source that you want to play for the Yankees. It's like, well, I think that the like deep down, the general sentiment is I don't want to be here. And sure, yeah, is that news? Do you think he wants to be there? No. But yeah, to like spring that on him in a moment of what should be a joyous occasion is fucking lame.
I mean, that one report was like was like, yeah, Paul Skenes is unsure if the Pirates have a plan in place to win or whatever they phrased it. It's like, yeah, no shit. I mean, Paul Skenes has fucking eyes, man. Like he's walking around like what? Yeah, he knows everything that we know. He knows more. Like, of course he thinks that.
Yeah.
If he thought otherwise, we would need to pull him aside and be like, are you okay? Like,
and what's fucked up about this, what's really fucked up about this, the reporting from that aspect, like it is clearly just a gotcha looking to grab you clickbait headline, because the instant rebuttal is, and I mean, I thought this immediately was teammate. As a teammate that said that, you think there's somebody in that clubhouse that is just going to volunteer that kind of information or that kind of conversation that they've had with that guy? You think,
or create that kind of distraction during the time that it was reported
to NJ.com.
It is such a joke, such an absolute joke. Just a like integrity gone.
Because it can never be proven.
You want me to publicize my source? I'm not going to rat my source out. Like, I'm not going to. Like, I don't know that I could look at that roster and go, oh, that guy's no.
I mean, Cherington did end up having to respond to the general idea, though, did he not? Like, I believe his quote was, "I do dismiss it, but I understand it," or something like that. Where it's like. Like that, even of itself, like I'm not going to pretend like I know whether he actually needed to address it or the PR machinations of the whole thing. But like, that's a little embarrassing. Like that he's saying that he's acknowledging that he understands that Paul Skenes is questioning whether they have a plan to win. It's just like, God damn. So, like, it's the only thing that these guys have. Like, what is the point of the Pirates? Honestly.
So that right there, to your point about Paul Skenes having eyes, Paul Skenes walking around being alive and upright. I mean, can't you kind of say that same thing for that response? Is like, well, this is the individual who's responsible for creating the track record here. This is the individual who's responsible for creating the vibe and the understanding of what's going on here. So I'd like to think that he probably has a pretty, like, he's not, these individuals are not immune to hearing the conversations surrounding their moves or their lack of effort, right? They hear it. There's no denying it. Like, you are not so insulated that you're not aware that people have a certain opinion about how you have chosen to do business and have continued to do business. Like, it's not lost on anybody that's a part of the Athletics franchise that the opinion is that when players get good, those players get traded away. Nobody wearing green and gold is surprised by that notion. And I would like to think nobody wearing black and gold is also surprised by the idea that people look at a guy like Paul Skenes and aren't thinking a matter of if, it's just a matter of when he's wearing another uniform. That is not news to fucking anybody. Anybody.
Anyway, Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. I know that. You can play their pick'em game. You can get in on the action with NFL season and NBA season. You can even mix and match the sports if you so choose. But the one thing that you do have to do is make sure you sign up with the promo code Jared. It's Jared to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Jared. How about we get into that interview with Curtis Granderson? How about that?
I say yes.
Yeah. The Grandy Man on BID. I will say my right knee is killing me because we've been doing so many streams that when I sit in this chair, I basically like put myself in the figure 4 leg lock. So like now I'm having knee problems. Are you a wrestling fan, Curtis?
I am a wrestling fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's your guy?
So I haven't kept up much with this new era, but one that I just started following on social, which I'm glad he's been active, I was a huge fan of, was D'Lo Brown.
Oh, D'Lo, shout him out.
Yeah, from Chicago, and he's just started having a presence. But I mean, there's a bunch of guys from Booker T to Sting to Ultimate Warrior, obviously, JYD. Just a bunch, I was big into it. We were actually talking about the whole, 6'7", how our kids are saying all that stuff now. And they were saying how we had during the Attitude Era, we were telling people to suck it. So
yeah, exactly.
We all had our thing,
Yes.
So.
Yes. I just saw a story about D'Lo. You remember Ahmed Johnson?
Yeah.
Did you realize, or did you know that he has muscle implants?
No, I did not know that.
So he looks huge and intimidating. And I guess he got out of line and D'Lo beat his ass. He was like, your muscles aren't even real. I'll beat your ass right now. And he did.
He just looks like a superhero, but didn't actually have it. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, those stories for them. I feel like just that, if you were in that life and you just want to tell it, you could just keep going for days and days with just number of stories, and it all would be entertaining.
Yes. And baseball, let's just start the interview. Baseball, we're coming off a great time period right now where there is, and I get it. It's Japan, it's the US, it's Canada, but 51 million viewers for the World Series. I think baseball is in a fantastic place. It's in a renaissance period. How much of that, right? Because I know that the for anyone who's not aware, the looming lockout is 2027. So if we are talking about these best World Series ratings since the early 90s, and you have this lockout looming, how much of that do you think will factor into even if we lock out, we can't lock out the whole year. Like we cannot stop this momentum for an entire season. How much of that do you think factors in?
I'll take it up even a step more. I don't think we can have a lockout to miss a game in 2027. The reason being is we just had a lockout in 2020, I think it was, but
21.
we were in the midst of, or 21, we're in the midst of COVID. Baseball wasn't playing. It was a weird, funky space to be in. So I don't think people recognized it or acknowledged it as much as they could if it happens in 27. And as you mentioned, World Series, one of the best viewed World Series we had. People are still talking about it even days afterwards. MLB posted something, I think, last year, if not the beginning of this year. Youth participation is up at an all-time high. Viewership, both in the ballpark and at home on your devices or whatever you're doing, is all moving up. Things are looking good. The game is as international as ever before. So come 2027, let's say opening day is April 1st. If there is no baseball played that day, I think it'll be a very, very bad thing and a hard one to come back from. We talk about, the strike in 94 and how Sosa and McGuire helped save baseball. But one thing that we forget is baseball still reigned supreme back then. You add in UFC and the monster that it is right now. The NBA is as huge as college football, college basketball, the NFL, all these other things that
streaming
are so much
services.
Bigger. Yeah, it's different now than it was 30 years ago? So I don't think that's a battle you want to take and try to go up against. So yes, there's going to be some going back and forth. It is a negotiation for a reason. Get it all taken care of and get it ready to roll come opening day 2027, whatever the decision happens to be.
That's why, like, I think to your point about it 30 years, a lot has changed. MLB is not just competing against other sports for attention. It's like all these streaming services, YouTube, like it's not about I want to watch this other sport. It's about what am I going to do with my valuable time? And there's plenty of other things that people can do with their valuable time now. I love that you said I don't even want to miss a game. And like mentally, I'd already kind of like sacrificed the first month, being like, all right, I'll give you maybe 30. But if the mindset is I'm not giving you a game, I'm on team Grandy man. Like I don't want to give up a game. But for anyone that's kind of like curious from the player's perspective, I know you're not active, but you had a very long, illustrious major league career. Put yourself in a big league clubhouse right now with that looming. And if the overall consensus or like the main thing, because obviously there's a bunch of different things that they're going to be fighting over, but let's just say it's like the salary cap. I don't think the salary cap's ever going to happen. Without some sort of bartering where the players are going to say, sure, we'll do a salary cap if there's a salary floor. We'll do that if you agree to let us reach free agency after 4 years of control instead of 6 years of control. Then the owners are going to say, well, that's insane. Like, why would we like let you just walk into free agency? Like those are the years that's why we sucked for so long to get a good draft pick, to take you in the draft so that we have those 2 years that we're now forfeiting. So it's going to be a stalemate. I don't know why we can't just agree to disagree that the issues at hand are never going to be agreed upon. That's what the strike was about in 94, was about a salary cap. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I think for now, it's 2025. At that point, it'll be 2027. For the first time, I think, ever in history, the topic of conversation is like, okay, well, what could that look like? But to your point, I think if now is the time for the players, if you're going to consider that, you have to have your laundry list of items of things you want in return. And you have to stay firm on it, whatever it happens to be. If you want to do the free agency and bump that up, if you want to get, arbitration and bump that up, if you want to have salaries be a certain way, if you want to have where there's just overall marketing and promotion of players like you see in the other leagues where it's a win-win, not only for the league, but for the players. And you have these superstars on nationally branded advertisements. So not only the name on the front of their jersey, but the name on the back of their jersey as well. Here is your time to ask for it, but it's only based on if this is something you want to consider. If it's off the table, say it's off the table from day one and just get ready to start battling about all the other things. But to your point, we all know what the things are that are going to be some of the big roadblocks here. Start those conversations and discussions and negotiations now. I've been on the negotiating table representing the players union, being in those meetings, and you're going to New York, whether you're in town playing or you happen to play for either of the two teams that are there, and you're meeting with MLB on behalf of the union with your lawyers and their lawyers. And some of those things are getting ironed out well before the CBA expires. This is definitely going to be one that's going to take some time. But we all know it. What the elephant in the room is. It's right there. So let's start talking about it and let's see if it can even be possible before that. Because ultimately, I think the one thing that everyone forgets, if everything is taken care of, everybody wins in this situation. It shouldn't be, well, the owners won or the players won. Here's a chance for both sides to really win this thing and take baseball to another level. If they can just get on the same page and go, I want to hear what you have to say. I'm going to be receptive to it, but I also want you to hear what I have to say. Now, we may not like it, but at least hear us out, and then let's have the ability to talk about it so we can ultimately get to the finish line, like I said, of having a game come 2027 opening day.
So now, I think they're just going to keep. I got one more just on this topic, and then I'll let Dallas go. I think they're going to keep talking past each other. I think it's like, I believe what I believe, I believe what I believe, and they're just going to keep yapping at each other's faces, because I think it came out today, like the Mets operated, or like the league operated at like a something $1 billion loss. The Mets operated at a $350 million loss. And So we're going to keep continuing to hear this narrative that it's not profitable to own a major league franchise because these salaries are out of control, when every single year the league wants to brag about record-breaking revenue and billions of dollars. We've never made this much money before, but the owners, we're not making any money on owning the team, so we have to lower the salaries. And the players are saying, so if you guys keep making record revenue every single year, but you want to put a cap on how the piece of our pie, it doesn't equate. And let's just say in a perfect world that they agree, there's a salary cap now, and the bargaining chip is, okay, now it's 4 years of service time before I can reach free agency. Don't you think teams are just going to be like, we're just not going to see the Bryce Harpers and the Juan Sotos anymore? And be like, all right, you might be really good. You might be ready for the big leagues at 19 and 20, but I'm not calling you up until you're 21 or 22 because I want those prime years. I want them here.
Well, there's definitely smart people on both sides of the table. I think the owners have a million lawyers for a reason. And that's not only to protect their interests, but to protect their value. And they have the analytical side of things. So they know, okay, if we do certain things, we can control the outcome as much as we can. The players can do as much and be as much of in demand as possible. But to your point, they can kind of hold and shift. I mean, we've seen it happen historically. I mean, one big one was Chris Bryant in my hometown of Chicago, when everyone thought he should have made the team out of spring training, but needed to go back to AAA to work on some things, and then ended up being one of the best players that came in and started his career as a major leaguer. So those things I think are still going to be out there. But I do think, if anything, we're in this place now where you can really take, see how I say this, the opportunity to go, okay, here are the things we see financially. Here are the things you publicly talk about. There's still so much we don't know, but here are the things we do know. For example, I covered the NLCS. I got a chance to see Dodger Stadium. I remember going through the parking gates and it said $60 for a car. Fast forward, they get to the World Series. Now it's $80 a car. So things just continue to go up. There's more money coming in. The concession stand prices are high. The tickets are high. The jerseys are high. The streaming services, all these things are bringing value to the game in a number of different ways. As you mentioned before we started this, Japan heavily in on it. Canada heavily in on it. All these other countries that are now watching it. So we know there's money coming into the system. Now it's just a matter of how you divvy it out, how you spread it out. Are the TV deals going to look different? Are the long-term contracts going to slightly be restructured, but still the value could be there? You look at the NBA, and one of the biggest conversations I've heard from a lot of players is, wow, the 12th man on that NBA team makes so much money and doesn't even play. But yet we have players in MLB that should be playing but can't get a job in their 30, 31-year age. I mean, Dallas, you remember this. We had teammates that were in their 40s. And now we're struggling to say, like, oh, if you're 33, you're old. So there's a lot of things I think that can kind of, be used as conversations and say, look at this, look at that. How do we address this in addition to the financial piece there? Like, we've yet to see ticket prices go down. We've yet to see parking go down. We've yet to see everything go down. So it's obviously moving in this direction. How does everybody, again, continue to be a winner when this all thing takes place? Now, someone's going to win more than the other person, but there should be a situation where everybody's able to benefit in this as the game continues to move up. Like we talked about, kids are playing it. People are watching it. People are attending it. People are supporting it. So if everything's moving that way, how can we not all find a way to get some big piece of this pie?
And to your point about some other things that are going on, like without getting too Machiavellian, it almost feels like, in my opinion anyway, and I have had no problem vocalizing this, I firmly believe there's a reason that we don't have those veterans in the clubhouse anymore, Grandy. And it's a two-sided coin. One side, you might be able to sell me on the lack of production you think comes from having dinosaurs like that around. But what happens when you have dinosaurs like that around, Grandy? They teach guys like you and I all the paths to the watering holes, don't they?
Yep.
They tell us where to go. They tell us where these watering holes are. And once we remove the elders, Well, now we're going to have a tougher time figuring out and remembering where those watering holes are. We got to cross the desert and try to figure out how to keep ourselves alive. And if we don't have those elders leading us to those paths, leading us down, we're going to have a tough time figuring out exactly where we are and where we're going from here on out. So I believe there's a strategic effort behind that, not only to secure finances and not have to pay older players that come with a certain level of revenue attached to their name, but also because if you're going to continue, to your point, controlling some things that you can control, if things are in place the way you'd like them to be, well, then you're just that much further ahead of the other side from an ownership perspective. The question I have for you, because I get to talk to Mike a lot throughout the season, I know you get to talk to Mike as well. What is your feeling and what is your vibe on the level of cohesiveness when it comes to the players' side of things and the level of understanding that these players have, revisiting the point I just made about maybe a lack of veteran presence? Because I know there's guys who are in those rooms. I know we got an important lefty that's in that room as well that helps out and has conversation. He's got experience. So where are we at there? What is your thought there?
Well, I think, a couple of things you talked about in terms of just that veteran presence. If you look at this past year's roster makeups, the teams that were the oldest teams were the teams that were doing well and that were in the playoffs. The youngest teams were the teams that were on the bottom that were breaking potential losing records and things like that. Now, I'd have to look back at 24 and 23 and 22, but I don't think that was a mistake. I think that's how it was. Like veteran players bring a value that sometimes isn't always quantifiable in the stats like you talked about. Now, fast forward that to the makeup of how the union looks in the players. There's some players that have been there for a lockout or two. I mean, Verlander was a teammate of mine. Kershaw's been around for a long time. There's some players there, and there's some players, this is their first time going through it. And I remember my first time going through it, and they started talking about things like collusion, and we really got to fight that and go for it. That was the first time I had heard that word. I didn't know what it meant. But then I had someone like a Kenny Rogers, who was one of my 40-year-old teammates, explaining what this is and why this is important to me. Oh, now I understand. So when they bring that up, this is what they're talking about. If no one on the team has been through that and no one can discuss it, it's not going to be the manager that brings it up. It's not going to be the owner or the GM that brings it up. It's going to be someone else that's giving you information to help their side. So having those players there just to be able to communicate them is going to be key. Also factor in, again, the game is more international now than before. There are certain parts of the world where unions just aren't a thing. Yeah, I'm a part of the system where there are unions in there, but I'm just here to do my job. I'm going to do my thing and go about it. So I think there are some spots where there's a lack of knowledge and the information just needs to continue to be communicated, but there also needs to be receptiveness from those players to go, okay, my career is possibly in jeopardy here. I need to understand what's going on. I may not love everything about it. I may not be for everything, but at least I need to understand, because like we talked about here, you're eventually going to become an old player. Do you want to have the opportunity and the luxury where you can hopefully play for a long period of time and be a Kershaw and be a Verlander? Or do you want to be, when they floated back in the last round of collective bargaining, that, hey, at age 30 and a half, you can become a free agent, and you think about it and go, okay, wow, that makes a ton of sense. Let's absolutely do that. But why are they doing that? And the reason being is all the analytics say at 31, you are considered old. So there's always a strategy about that. And just imagine if you go, wow, now I understand why they want to do that. Now I can make the decision if I'm for or against it. But if no one's there to tell you that, and there's not those veteran players there that are consistently there to do it, I think it is a challenge, but it could be strategic. Hey, let's get those guys out there. Dallas, you and I know this. They always used to say that if you were very vocal and very heavy in the union, you were a player that were traded pretty often. And you started to see that and go, okay, this guy's knowing a little bit too much. He's starting to get around our players a little bit. Boom, let's move him out of here. I don't know. I played for 7 teams. I don't think that's the reason why, but it could be, So,
well, Grady, you're spitting. Put it like this, man. You're spitting a lot of facts right now. I put you in a position to give us all the information that you and I maybe already have, but other people might not be privy to.
Yep.
And this is the level of understanding that I really, really, truly pray on at night, that I hope our young players have. And I hope they understand. And to your point about being receptive to it, because I always highlight and go back and tell a story about in spring training, sitting in our clubhouse, watching the Boston Red Sox not take the field because we were getting ready to go to Japan and play them. The problem was there wasn't compensation for the people who deserved compensation. And so we had to make a choice in that moment. Are we going to go take the field and play this game? Or are we telling Major League Baseball to stuff it? And until they come correct with pocket money for these boys, we're not going anywhere. And to be a part of that was my first, like, oh my God, am I getting ready to say no to $40,000? You kidding me? I made $6,000 last year. I need that money. And here I was saying, nope, guess I'm not getting on an airplane. And that's just, but to have that education that early on, that's when my eyes were opened. And so I will say this to you. Please do not quit spitting facts. Please do not stop answering questions. Please, please, please. You're a great player. That's why you were moved around, because people want your ass on their team, but you also got information, my dude. And that's important to remember as well. So I want to thank you, Grandy, because I know the kind of work you do. I know the way you roll up your sleeves and get into the mix with the guys. And I truly appreciate that very much, man, on a level that I don't know I'll ever be able to truly express. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. And again, it's the teammates that helped pave the way for me. The Dimitri Youngs when I was in Detroit, the Kenny Rogers. I mean, my first 3 organizations I played for, the Detroit Tigers, the New York Yankees, and the New York Mets, that spanned over the course of 12 seasons. I had a 40-year-old teammate on all 3 of those teams. And you start thinking about it, you go, wow, like you look at teams now, and there's some teams that might have a 30-year-old on there, and you go, what are they missing from not only a competitive standpoint, just a playing standpoint, a how to prepare standpoint, and with this big picture, how to get ready for collective bargaining when that time comes and how to answer those questions. You know, again, I'm not saying you have to be for or against it, but if you don't know about it, and all of a sudden that microphone comes in your face and goes, all right, what do you think about this? Are you for or against it? And you say something, that's ammunition, both good or bad. So you just got to be understanding and prepared that could happen. And if asked, hey, either who do I direct you to, or if I'm going to have a response, this is what I'm going to ultimately say.
Yeah, the veterans are so huge. I mean, I credit Nomar Garciaparra for getting in the mix and preventing me from ruining my own career by just taking the ball blindly. He knew full well physically what I was dealing with and knew what I was willing to do. And he just walked in the room and was like, you go sit over there. You motherfuckers, you know better than this. And he ain't going. Got it? And I was like, oh, this is what a vet does? This is incredible. Right. But that kind of presence, man, that kind of presence. That's it. Incredible.
Jay, you're muted. No, you're not muted, but we can't hear you. No.
It's that technology we're talking about, you know.
Get him. Well, hey, Grandy, we also have you here. You are somebody who, when we talk about the examples you set on the field and the examples you set in the clubhouse, there's examples that you have set since you became a professional and you continue to set off of the field as well. You are a very, very giving individual, and you have, how long has it been? I mean, we're talking decade plus, I think, of the way that you have been doing work in the community, all of your days of giving. Can you just kind of dive into that and maybe explain where that comes from and what kind of sparked that light in you?
Yeah, I started my Curtis Granderson Foundation in 2007 when playing in Detroit. And I think all that geared from both my parents being educators, teaching in the Chicago public school system. My sister still teaches at the university level. She's at Jackson State University in Mississippi. Right. And then at the time, I was one of a handful of ball players with a college degree that was active. So education was always something that was very important to me. But in addition to not only understanding the importance of education, the importance of being able to help and being helped, you know, watching my parents, because there was a time at the end of the school year where I would finish about a week or two before their school year would finish. So they would bring me to school with them for an extra week. So I had a little bit of school. And
Yay!
I would watch how they would just interact with teachers and students and colleagues. Hello to everyone. Everyone knew their name, to the point where now if I'm out and about in the city of Chicago, I'll have people come up to me and they go, your mom or your dad taught me. Now, they retired 10, 20 years ago. And these are still
awesome.
people that remember. And I challenge you all to go through and say, okay, do you remember all your teachers? The answer is probably no, but there are some that stand out for you. And that's how my parents were. They were those ones that stood out. And they always, whenever I outgrew clothes, they would take them and give them back to people. They would always invite people over for a meal. You came in, you left with a plate, all those little things. I didn't know it was called giving back. I just thought that's what you did. And now I'm in a position as a professional athlete to be able to do those things and help out where I can. So starting that in Detroit, getting traded to the Yankees, signing with the Mets, and then the other 4 teams I played for, brought it to all those places, including internationally to Toronto and Chicago being my home. For the last 12 years, we've been able to help fight food insecurity with our Grand Giving initiative, which is actually happening this month, the month of November. So I know a lot of the audience may not be in Chicago, but if you are, or now we have moved into Wisconsin, we have stores called Mariano's and Pick and Save and Metro Market. If you're at any of those stores, you can donate. And if, of course, you can't make it to any of those stores, you can donate via grandgiving.org. Again, that's grandgiving.org. All the proceeds go to the food depositories here in the Chicagoland area and in the southeast. I got to get my geography right. The southeast areas of Wisconsin. So been doing that and just trying to help out where I can. And food is definitely important. And not knowing where your next meal comes from can make a lot of things very challenging. So that's what we've been trying to do for the last 12 years. But Curtis Granderson Foundation, aka the Grandkids Foundation, has been rolling and going for almost 20 years now, which is amazing to say.
It's awards week right now. You yourself being a Roberto Clemente Award winner, that'll be handed out Thursday night on MLB Network. I'm curious, because of all the work that you've done off the field, it has to feel good knowing that you're helping people. But how validating was the acknowledgement of the Roberto Clemente Award, knowing like, all right, like I know that I'm helping people. I can see it because I'm seeing all the results of the hard work. But to have it recognized by that award, what did that mean to you?
That one's awesome. I mean, I have a bunch of like ribbons and trophies from Little League to bowling to basketball, all the way up until I finished playing. And my parents kept the majority of those things. They wanted to display them. The Roberto Clemente Award, that's the one I want. I said, nope, I'm bringing that one home. So that one's here in my house. You guys can keep the 7th place track ribbon that you got that's hanging. You hold on to that one. But that was the one I wanted. I mean, not only for just the individual Roberto was from a player standpoint, which we all know, but the fact that, you know, he passed in the midst of trying to help people, and not even in his home country, just saw that there was a need and he was able to do it and was out there trying to do so. So to be acknowledged and recognized by peers and in the community for doing that, I wasn't trying to do it for that reason, but to be in the same conversation with him now after the fact is truly amazing. I remember one of the first events we ever did in Detroit. I think we raised like $2,000, and I was kind of disappointed. I was like, man, I've been to these events and they raise, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. How come I didn't do that here? And then I took a step back. I said, I didn't do that much, but the little bit we did get is going to help the individuals that we can help. And those individuals will ultimately be able to help more people. And that was the mindset that I ended up taking. Like, even if I just help somebody with one thing, and it may not be something I think is huge, but just the confidence, just the boost. For example, I had a children's book in the city of Detroit called All You Can Be, and we hired we did a contest in the state of Michigan where kids throughout the different cities could illustrate a picture that could ultimately end up in the book. The one that got the cover of that book, I met that young student and their parents back when they were, I don't know, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, whatever it happens to be. And the parents said, because of them winning this and getting an opportunity to be featured in your book and being selected, the confidence has boosted. They speak more. They're more upfront. Fast forward, I just got an email from that person saying, thank you again. I've gotten my doctorate. I've done all these things, and just everything started from just this competition and being able to show people that I can do. Now, again, that wasn't the purpose of why I was trying to do it, but you start to have these impacts in areas that you could never imagine just by trying to help out when you can.
Last one for me. It's not exactly, I guess it is timely because of the doc that's out, but it's not exactly relevant in terms of the time period that I'm going to be asking about. That A-Rod doc is out. I'm halfway through. I got to talk to the director. So it turns out he's a Red Sox fan, which is cool. He's like, unique experience to be able to do this project with A-Rod. But you were teammates with A-Rod and Jeter right after they won in 2009. So maybe it was a little bit different of an environment. Like when he comes in 2004 and it's a whole media circus and all that. Being an all-star yourself, you're a fly on the wall, but you're a teammate. Like, how would you describe, I guess, the dynamic between the two after they had won in 2009?
So I got there in 10. Actually, let's fast forward, playing, or rewind, I should say. Playing against them, you didn't sense it. The only thing that really stood out to me was these two dudes are really tall. I didn't realize how tall Jeter was. I didn't realize how tall A-Rod was until I had advanced safely to second or made it to third. I'm like, these are some big dudes. I didn't realize they were so big. So that left side of the infield is quite large, short and third, and those two both having the physical ability to play those positions as they did. Now I'm on the team in 2010. I had seen the dynamic from the news standpoint and being a spectator reading about it, but I never sensed anything in the clubhouse while I was there. I thought Jeter was absolutely amazing in terms of the number of teammates he's had throughout the course of his career, the teammates that were only going to be there for a day, the ones that were going to be there for years. And he did an amazing job of communicating, making them feel welcome, always inviting in. And he didn't have to, right? He could have been like, this is my team. You guys do what I say. You're not going to be here that long anyways. I've seen how this story plays out. He didn't do that. A-Rod was there just like, Pettit and Posada and Rivera and CC and AJ Burnett and Nick Swisher and all those guys. And one of the things I always tell people, Alex is one of the smartest baseball minds I've ever been around. He talks about the game in different ways that I just haven't heard people discuss it. And this is something simple. It's not going to sound overly complicated, but even just his thinking, I think he would make a perfect president of baseball operations or a GM. I know that's not exactly what he wants to do, but take, for example, it's 2011 or 12. We're getting ready to make a playoff run. It's late August. We're getting ready for September. And there's a tight game, I think in Baltimore. And we end up winning or losing the game. Don't remember. But I share a taxi with him back to the hotel. And he's like, hey, we got to start bunting more right now, because come playoff time, when one of us gets asked to bunt, if we can't get the bunt down, then it's going to be all on us. And it's going to be 50,000 people cheering for us or against us versus 15,000 people like they're doing right now. So we need to start doing that today. And I know that sounds simple, but again, fast forward now, all of a sudden you haven't bunted all season long and they're asking you to do it versus this guy throwing 95 and there's 40,000 people yelling and screaming. I was like, dang, you're right. Like, we don't bunt. We're the Yankees, right? We hit the ball out of their ballpark. That's what we do. But in the playoffs, you might have to do that. And the time you get asked to do it, you don't want the first time you have to do it to be in October with the game on the line. So just little things like that he would talk about and think through. So I always thought the relationship with them was good, at least, from my standpoint. They never showed or displayed anything that came my way that I saw it. But it was always interesting just to be in that line of like, man, I'm either batting before or after Jeter. I'm batting before or after A-Rod. And probably the biggest A-Rod moment I have is there's two. One, he gets back from suspension, and I think one of his first games is in Chicago. And when they said his name, I had never heard boos like that before in baseball. And I've been on Yankees, Red Sox. I've been in rivalries. I've been in all that stuff. That was different. I thought the fans were coming on the field to get him. And then he's got multi-million followers. He's on Shark Tank. He was dating J-Lo. I mean, you talk about someone that's completely did a 180. Credit to him and his team for doing that from that moment where he was at. And also in that same time frame is the game in Boston where I think he gets thrown
Dempster.
at 4 or 5 times. Dempster hits him. So I'm on deck for that. And I'm just watching this unfold. And if you've been in Fenway, the dugouts are far away. So I'm like, all right, if he gets hit and charges, it's going to be A-Rod and me for about 5 seconds before my teammates make it out. So luckily, and A-Rod, don't be mad, but I think he got hit in the funny bone and he kind of took him down just enough where everybody can get out. So I'm looking back. All right, you guys are here. All right, now we can run out and everybody can be safe. Because if not, I was going to be in trouble. It was just going to be me and him for a little bit. So those are 2 big moments that I remember playing with A-Rod. And also, being on deck for his 23rd Grand Slam, or on second base for his 23rd Grand Slam, or something like that, his record-breaking Grand Slam moment. So he's truly amazing for the stuff that he could do on the baseball field. And so happy I got a chance to play with both of those guys. Just some really good stories. And just, I'm going to look back and people are going to be like, man, you played with them? I'm like, yep, I did. I played with those guys.
I also feel like you're underselling, like you're making it sound like you're just like this like complimentary play. Like you had fucking like almost like 50 WAR in your career. You had multiple seasons of 40 pumps. Like you're a great player. Like you like when you showed up to the Bronx, I'm sure like Jeter and A-Rod were probably like, oh shit,
Thank
like
God.
we might go back to back. Yeah, like we're better now.
But they're not just handing out MVP votes and shit to just randoms.
Right.
That's not a thing, Grady.
Yeah, I lied to you. I do have one more question for you.
Do you think?
Because
We're good.
Of the career that you had, I think like you played for the Yankees when the Yankees were the Yankees, right? And now with the Dodgers, they're the new Yankees where they have all the superstars, they have all the shiny new toys, they can afford any player that they want. Let's say, like I'm looking at your baseball reference right now. Let's say after your 2011 season, that was the year that you finished 4th for MVP, 6.1 wins above replacement. You're an all-star. You're going into your age 31 season. Let's say that's when you reach free agency. Mm-hmm. The Dodgers are one of the teams that come calling. Are you kind of the mindset of like, I want to go the best, like the highest bidder? I want to be the team that beats the Dodgers. Like, let's say it's like we're taking 2011 and plopping it right now. The Dodgers have won back-to-back World Series titles. Now they want Curtis Granderson. They want to win 3 in a row. Or do you want to be part of the team that topples them? Let's say they're the highest bidder because they're the Dodgers, but there's a team that's somewhere. Let's say it's like the Phillies. They're somewhere in the same ballpark. Like they're a team that could take. Yeah, like they can take down that. They have a chance to. Where is your heart at? Where is your mind at?
So starting with the mind first, and again, this goes back to those veteran players. So Gary Sheffield, teammate of mine in Detroit, he's like, get your money, and then you can always go win after the fact or end up where you want to be. But you can't do the reverse, like, ooh, I really want to be here, and now that I'm here, I want some more money and get it. At least the way things are structured now, you just can't do it. Once you're locked in, you're locked in. So the first thought would be like, okay, well, who wants me, right? I got to date who likes me, Mm-hmm. So if the teams come in and one team offers $1 and the other team offers $10, all of a sudden I'm a little bit more interested in the $10, no matter who that happens to be. So I think that's the first way my thought process would go. Then from a mind or a heart standpoint, like, where do I want to be? I definitely want to be with a situation where the communication is huge and there's a plan in place. Like, here's what we got. This is what's coming. And this is what we're ultimately going to do. That's part of the reason why I ended up in the Mets. That conversation about those young arms coming, I was like, ooh. And then fast forward, I'm standing on first base and Joey Votto's there, one of our best hitters of this generation. He goes, you know what the best thing about playing in New York is? And I'm expecting him to say just being in Manhattan, being in the city. He goes, you don't have to face DeGrom, Syndergaard, and Matz and Wheeler. I was like, oh, yeah, those dudes are pretty good. I'm glad they're on my team. But knowing that's there and knowing that it's actually going to come and deliver, that would be a part of the conversation. But if the Dodgers are going to double the amount of money that is the next best offer to me, or just be so much higher, that's a hard thing to say no to. You got to go get it. Like, you can't go back and get it. And it goes back to our original conversation. If the teams are able to pay that much out, this is just to the players' salaries at the big league level. We have the draft. We have the minor league players. We have the concession stand person. We got the mascot. We got the DJ. We got all these other people that get a paycheck. How much money has to be coming in order to pay that bill? So we start thinking about how much money is being made, or how much a team is worth, or are they winning or losing? Like, well, they had enough to pay out $300 million. So I know they got at least that much, you know? So I look at it from that standpoint. If they're offering it, there's a reason why they want to offer it. They hopefully think I'm worth that, or they probably think I'm worth more, and they're hoping they get a deal out of this. So I'm definitely going to consider it. Me and my agent are going to have some conversations.
And that right there, the conversation point, kind of going back to the discussion we were having earlier about being able to, you know, divulge information from experience in an elder statesman and giving that to a younger player. Going through those conversations, was there somebody other than Gary who maybe had that impact on you that said, hey, now you're at a point in time? And maybe it was somebody that you reached out to have those conversations or discussions. How did that go? Because you're knocking on the door of a big payday, and you're now in a position where you might be able to glean some information and apply that to your situation. What was that like?
Dash, you must be a mind reader, because you literally took it out of my head. So when I got my extension in Detroit, as soon as it was offered to me, the first thing that came to my mind is like, I'm going to reach out to someone that's been in a similar position that's in there. And obviously I have a bunch of teammates I can do it, but I picked up the phone and called Torrey Hunter. I called him up. I said, hey, I have this opportunity in front of me. What do you think? And he's like, hey, he broke it down and gave me this, that, and the other. And this is someone I was a fan of. This is now someone that's an opponent of mine, but somebody that's a friend that I can communicate with. And that's what I did. I went to him and talked to him. And I've had other players do the same thing. Randall Grichuk reached out to me when he had an opportunity. He goes, what are you thinking? And I just try to just lay it out and give you a neutral standpoint, because one thing we forget, your agent is trying to get the deal done because they get paid, and the team is trying to get the deal done because they want the best advantage. Whether you sign the deal or not, it's not going to affect me. And same thing with Torrey, and the same thing with Randall and other players that I've had a chance to communicate with or have asked information for. We just want to see the best for you, because if you do well, it makes us all do well. And that's the part that, you know, I thank Torrey for just picking up the phone and talking to me about it. And, you know, I'm so grateful that Randall trusted me to reach out to me and say, what do you think? And, you know, whenever those opportunities present themselves, hopefully, again, the players remember, like, we're all in this together. Yeah, you might be on a different team, but if I can assist you and you can assist me with stuff that I've gone through or stuff that you've gone through, why would I not reach out to someone who's gone through it versus the people that have not gone through it for advice? They'll always be there, but man, you got 20, how many players we have now? 26 on a roster. You got 25 other players you can talk to. And I'm sure, you know, players on other teams you can also reach out to as well.
Yeah. Last thing, I think it's an interesting conversation that we're going to be having here over the next week, and it's all going to come to a head with the MVP award. You are a player, as Jared and I have just kind of highlighted. You're that dude. Like you are that dude. You know what it's like to put an offense on your back. You know what it's like to be a catalyst. You know what it's like to be the dude that gets circled in a lineup. Don't let this fucking guy beat us. Right. So the responsibility that comes along with an everyday player like that, compared to the responsibility of an everyday player who is a catcher. Do you have any thoughts? Do you have a stance when it comes to the viability of a performer behind the plate and the responsibility of that catcher, as opposed to a guy like, let's say, Aaron Judge, who is not a catcher, who is not handling the staff, but is clearly that dude that you do not want to let beat you. And the numbers tell you he's probably the greatest right-handed hitter that a lot of kids have seen to this point in their life.
Well, let's start the conversation first with the National League. You know, you have that kind of similar debate with Schwarber and Ohtani, and you go, okay, well, offensively they do X, Y, and Z, and, you know, you can kind of argue one way or the other. But then there's that other thing that Ohtani does with that ball on the mound that you do so well, Dallas, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's those things. But I do love the fact that we had a chance to see two MVPs go head to head when the Phillies had clinched and then they were still in town and Ohtani took the mound for like the first time, I think towards the end of the season. I was like, I don't remember in history where you had someone who's possibly going to win it versus the person who's going to be either potential runner up or could win it. And they're literally going to bat against each other and pitch against each other minus Schwarber pitching and do it. Like, I thought that was an amazing moment. And Ohtani got the best of him in that game. Not only did he, I think, strike him out his first at bat, but I think he homered later in the game. So it was like a message sender in that particular moment. So I think that obviously elevates Ohtani to be the winner in the National League. Coming over to the American League now, I do think I never caught. They never let me get back there and catch. So I don't know what all that position demands. I do know I was jealous as a little leaguer because they always used to give that kid the orange slices and the wet towel. I'm like, I'm hot out here too in center field. It's hot. Where's my wet towel? But they always give it to the catcher. So I know the importance of having someone back there to do that day in, day out. And we always used to remember it's hard for those catchers to hit because of what they're going through back there. Foul ball off the hand, just tired, fatigue, all those different things. So to be able to hit after being a catcher and do what he did, absolutely amazing. And as everyone says, he helped their team win the division. When he's not in there, he did all these things. But I think for all those conversations, they're the same conversations with Aaron Judge. When he was out of the lineup, that team struggled. When he's in the lineup, that team wins. And that he just does so many amazing things out there. Now, is he playing a prime position this year versus last year? No, he's in right versus center. But, hey, you're still on the field and you're still doing all those things. If I'm going to vote as of today, after seeing everything unfold, I do think what we saw was absolutely amazing with Cal Raleigh. But I still have to think that what we saw with Aaron Judge was even that much more amazing. Like,
granted.
So I'm going to give it to Judge. And maybe it's the outfielder in me.
Outfielder bias, clearly.
Right. I think that might be, because again, I never caught, so I don't know how demanding it is, except again, they got the water and they're calling the games and stuff. But
let me give you this perspective. This is what I have kind of said to people is, and I think you'll understand this, and maybe you'll think about it, maybe you won't. But there's no other player. There's no other position. There's no other player on your team, any team that you've ever played on, any team that I've ever played on. We have both only ever played with one player who's played one position where that player is asked to take their responsibilities and cast those aside for a group of other players on their team, meaning the catcher, to your point about their offensive prowess. Nobody's asking Aaron Judge to come in and not do certain things in this moment so he can go help other guys do this.
Right.
Well, Cal Raleigh got to catch bullpens, right? That's part of his craft, but he's got to be there to do that. Cal Raleigh might not be able to
sometimes.
Might not be able to get in the cage and get the flips. You might have to truncate his routine a little bit because they've got a meeting that's gone a little longer. They've got whatever. So I always just, and that's not saying that it happens every day, but when you think about it, at no point in time is anybody asking Aaron Judge to not prepare his way so that he can help some other teammates of his. That's not part of his job description per se. He's a great teammate and would absolutely help anybody who needs the help. But his literal job description does not have him relinquishing his focus on his craft to help somebody else. And for Cal Raleigh, that's part of the job.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, that was one of the things I was always amazed as especially minor league player. I feel like you saw it more. You'd have that catcher running in because his group has already started hitting and he's taking his stuff off. And I've already had 2 or 3 rounds and you're hoping to get him an extra round or 2 because this is the only time he can hit. And then, you need him to do what he needs to in the game, not only behind the plate, but when his time comes up with the bases loaded in the 7th, hopefully he's able to come through and he's not just that automatic out. So I've definitely witnessed that and seen it. Big league's a little bit different in terms of it. He's going to get his work in, but I still know the demand is there, to your point. Like, he's got to catch, he's got to do all that stuff out there. And I do think it's great. I just think that everything we saw, as great as it is, it was still so good to see on the other side as well. The only difference, I know there was a lot of conversation that Seattle wins the division, thanks in part to Cal Raleigh. The Yankees almost won their division. I know almost, and they didn't do it, but they almost caught the Blue Jays with him being back in. So I think that one kind of was a little bit, but then just the overall numbers was like, wow, like I didn't realize he was that better in those categories. Like that's the part that stands out to me. And I think that's where the conversation gets missed. I think I view it as the best player versus the most valuable. And that's where I could be off in certain spaces here. Because I've seen people win the award. I'm like, wait a minute. Like that dude's numbers were so insane. How did he not win? And you've seen it happen a couple of times. Like Ernie Banks won back-to-back MVPs on last place team. So obviously they took advantage and said, man, you just said that good. I don't care how bad your team is. You are just that good. But I do think there are times now, especially they go, okay, without this player, this is technically the most valuable player to their team. But I do think on the flip, if you look at the National League, I mean, you had a combination of both. You know, I think Ohtani not only was one of the best players, but I think that team could still do a lot of great things because they got 2 other MVPs over there and all this other stuff. So, and if you're missing him, especially from a pitching standpoint, they still did what they needed to do. So I think for me, I just always look at the best player. And I know they say there's the Hank Aaron Award is the best offensive player. Mm-hmm. I don't know who won the Hank Aaron Award last year, but I do know who won the MVP. So for me, you know, I look at I hope that player who I think is the best player in that season gets the MVP award. And for me, I think that's going to be Aaron Judge from the best player in 2025. That's how I'm going to look at it from that side of it.
Fair.
Love it.
Dallas, hot tub.
All right, Randy. Throw on your Speedo. Time to jump in the hot tub time machine. And we are going back into a moment in baseball history where you get to watch. You get to be there. What moment in baseball history, if you could go back in time, would you go back to witness? You don't get to participate. You're not a part of it. You just get to watch it. You get to experience the occurrence.
Live, like I'm there.
You're there.
Oh, you're there. Popcorn. Ooh. You're waving the pennant. You are there.
I got my foam finger.
Absolutely. We're number one. We're number one.
So I would say, I think it's hard to truly understand certain timelines until you're there. And I actually was fortunate enough where someone who was there in this time frame spoke to me about it. I said, wow, like I didn't realize that. So the moment I'm thinking about is Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier for the Brooklyn Dodgers that game. And owner of the White Sox, Jerry Reinsdorf, said, hey, I was there for that, which is just interesting to think about because I think he's 88 years old and sharp as a tack, maybe 89 years old, sharp as a tack. But he was there for it. And he said something to me, he goes, I remember it happening and it was a game. Like, here's Jackie Robinson. He's going to be there. He's going to play. There was no thinking like, oh, this is like this like intense, heated moment. This was a player. He could play. He performed well. He did this. And hearing it from that standpoint, I go, man, I want to go back and see it because all we have are the movies, right? And all we have are the stories. And then there's a cut showing people booing and people cheering and we don't want you. And we so happy to have you. Like to have been there for it, to have had a ticket, to head to Ebbets Field, to then get a ticket. And then, of course, I would have had to sit in the then segregated black section, but to had my wool suit on at a baseball game, 3-piece with my hat, and just see how the fans reacted, how the players for both sides reacted and responded, how Jackie went out there and did it, would have just been something to come back and go, okay, I was there. This is how it went down. Because as the story goes and gets further and further along, right? We add a little bit, we take away a little bit, and we don't know exactly. And we don't have Jackie to account for it. Now, his wife, you know, one of the stories she talks about, just even heading down to spring training, I remember her saying they stopped in some hotel, I think in either somewhere in the South, and they got this bed for the two of them. And the bed bugs were so bad and visible that they luckily had some newspaper that they put on top of them to get a good night's sleep before continuing on to start spring training that year. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, right? And then, oh yeah, not only do you have to do that, then get there and play. And there's some people that don't want you there and your teammates may not want you there and you're just trying to survive. And then that moment happens. And like I said, Jerry Reinsdorf said, I don't know if he was at the game, but he was in the New York area for it. And to have it sound so intense and feel so intense, and it could have been a number of different emotions that I may have experienced just from being there. So that would be the one I would love to hot tub time machine and go back to it. I don't think they had a foam finger, so I'm going to switch that out and get my 3-piece wool suit. It's got to be looking nice because, you got to be dressed to the nines if you're going to that game.
That's it. I got to tell you, Grandy, we have heard that answer multiple times. And Jared was going to say this, and what I'm going to say right now, I know it. I that is the most thoughtful and the most well-articulated perspective on that moment in time that we have ever received. That has instantly become my favorite answer because it's not just about being in the building. It's about understanding how many different perspectives that were being offered in that moment in time. It's almost like that movie Crash, if you remember it. It's a movie that occurs and it's from so many multiple different perspectives. It's all about the same day, the same occurrence, but how lives are impacted and how that is completely different based on, unfortunately, the color of your skin. I literally, my throat, like I got a lump in my throat when you even just acknowledge, like, I'd have to be sitting over here. It's like,
right. Which is crazy to think about.
Why? Oh, well, that's why, because we're absolute morons as a species. That's why. But
the game's not happening today. It's happening then,
Just that perspective, man. So,
or think of this and tell us, when were you in Oakland? What years?
07 through 12.
Did you have Nick Swisher and Jack Hanahan?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Both of them.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Yami. Swish and Yami.
I'm sure you know about them. So, right. This is it's different, but similar. So I played with Jack Hanahan and then eventually played with Nick Swisher. Jack Hanahan went to the University of Minnesota. Nick Swisher went to the University of Ohio State. The two of them had a bench clearing brawl in college. And I think the two of them were swinging on each other during the brawl. They don't see each other until they are teammates in Oakland and their locker is next to each other. And that's the first time you see. Now, you can imagine what may be going through both of their heads. Oh, yeah. Luckily, they ended up becoming like this afterwards. They were just boys. But now, again, going back to that moment, I'm joining this team and there's potentially someone over there that has this history or this knowledge or this hatred towards me, and I might have it towards them. And now we're on the same team. Like I can't fathom or understand how that even happens. And then, oh yeah, I got to go out there and perform and play and get hits and play defense and do all this stuff. Like that part, I would just like, I know they didn't have the technology, but like to have that dugout camera to see what that was like back then would have been just interesting. Like,
well, like to your point, like you want me to, like, looking down the line, you want me to get the bunt down for this dude? You want me to get this dude? Oh, like this could be an RBI for me, but instead let me get the bunt down. So the guy behind me, who I absolutely hate, he gets the steak. That's what you want me to do, right? Like, you got to put that aside. You got to put that aside. It's man, incredible perspective, Grandy, as always, dude.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, I couldn't imagine. But yeah, were you there? How did that go? They told me that Jack Hanahan and Nick Swisher, they both came in, they looked at each other. Hand went out and just were as tight can be. Did you witness it?
All good. I was there. Yes. And it was, and to your point about like understanding, once we're in the same colors, once we're on the same side and we have the opportunity to have that discussion. And look, sometimes those discussions start with no words at all. And maybe that's in a back room somewhere. And maybe we come limping out of that room together, friends, a little closer than we were when we walked into that room. And that's fine. That's how it's going to go. But to be able to have that moment in time and have that opportunity to clear the air, clear the space, and then move forward together. It's a moment that I think is necessary to have, regardless of the extent of relationships. That's how bonds are forged. That's how relationships are built. And if you are going to play this game, you and I both know you can't play it on milk and cookies, Grandy. So you are going to have to be able to weather some storms. And
Yes, you
I
do.
think we were all better for it, for being able to work through that together.
That's it. That is it. Yeah. And try not to get into a fight before we end up meeting. That's the big thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
I mean,
go.
I Dallas is 100% correct. Like before he jumped in, I was going to say we've heard that answer many times, and that is far and away the best response, reasoning, thought process as to why you've chosen that game. So thank you for that. That was
No problem.
I think the listeners are going to love that. But yeah, I just want to let you know how much I enjoyed this conversation. I mean, like we have a ton of guests that roll through, but this was really, really fun. I hope the listeners and viewers learned a lot from it. And you are welcome back here around these parts anytime.
Anytime. And one more time, Grand Giving. What's the website? What's the link, Grandy? Please, please, listeners, if you can, please come up off your $20, whatever you were going to go spend it on. It ain't worth the impact that your $20 can have with our man Grandy. So hit him with the link, Grandy. Where can they help?
Grandgiving.org. Again, grandgiving.org. And you can donate as little as $1. I know Dallas put it out there, $20. So we set the bar up there, but it truly does go a long way. Grandgiving.org. These food banks can take it and multiply it in so many different ways and help these families and kids out that just don't know where their next meal is coming from. And that was one of the big things I didn't touch on as my parents who both taught. One of the things that really stood out to me why this is an important initiative, they would always just talk about, school, coming home, this, that, and the other. And hey, so-and-so wasn't in school today. I'm like, well, how do you know they weren't in school? And how do you know they're going to be in school? He goes, well, I know so-and-so missed Thursday and Friday, but they'll be in school on Monday. I was like, how do you know? Because at school, this is the only place they're getting food. They're getting a lunch and they're getting breakfast. And he didn't eat all weekend. He's going to be in class. And she didn't say that like, oh, this is a problem we have to do. She just understood the reality of what it is. And sadly, that reality is still existing now. So again, grandgiving.org. $1, like Dallas said, $20 can truly go a long way.
Curtis Granderson, thank you so much for taking the time.
No problem. Thank you all. Y'all have a good week. And we'll see what happens here this offseason with these awards.
Woo! All right, big thanks to Curtis Granderson for making his BID debut. We just got in this tweet maybe 10 minutes ago. Emmanuel Clase arrived at JFK Airport this morning from the Dominican Republic and was arrested by FBI agents. Per Eastern District of New York DOJ spokesperson, he will be arraigned at 2 p.m. So in an hour. Okay.
Good luck.
All right.
Yeah, God bless. God bless him. Yeah, shout out to Pat Murphy and Stephen Vogt, managers of the year in their respective leagues. You guys have any takes on that?
No, I didn't. I mean, Jay, where were you at on that? I think Jared and I both called those two.
Like before the season? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, right? I think so.
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't check beforehand.
If it wasn't before the season,
I mean,
know
fuck.
we were.
Me too, man.
Our most recent.
Well, just fucking throw me on the pile. Yeah, fuck it. I called it.
Yeah,
man.
we called it.
God, Stephen Vogt and Pat Murphy. I was right there whole time. Bang.
Bang.
I know a lot of people were had thoughts about John Schneider not winning. And a lot of it was, oh, what? Stephen Vogt gets it because the fucking Tigers fell on their face and they collapsed. Well, the Guardians have to win games too. Mm-hmm. They have to win baseball games as well. And you have to be able to put your team in a position to sustain lumps. And when you're taking a beating at times, which the Guardians did, you got to figure out a way to get yourself up off the fucking mat. And it helps when you have a guy like Stephen Vogt continuing to be able to motivate you and continuing to be able to put a clear vision in front of you, even amidst chaos. And when a team like the Tigers is shitting the bed the way they did, you have to be able to gather perspective, and you also have to be able to keep your cart behind your horse, which means let's just keep pulling in the same direction that we're doing right now, and things may work out for us, boys. I've been here before. Let's stay the course here. You need that steadying presence. He provided that. I have no problem with this vote going to Stephen Vogt.
Well done. I have I have 3 rapid fire takes.
Please.
Just like if you're getting fired up, Jared said somebody got mad about Schneider. If you are getting mad about the Manager of the Year award, you need to check yourself into some sort of mental facility, because it's like, it is like the one award in sports you're just not allowed to feel that way about. In fact, it's like, there's like a 50-50 chance that any winner is going to be fired within 2 seasons of winning the award anyway. So it's like, it's the least like sustaining award that exists.
Yeah.
My second take is that I do think, like, I'm not saying Stephen Vogt didn't deserve it. I do think there is a little bit of cognitive dissonance when we're getting reports that Emmanuel Clase is being arrested as he arrives at JFK, and Luis Ortiz was arrested in Massachusetts, and they lose people to a scandal that we don't really know the depths of yet. And he's winning Manager of the Year award in consecutive seasons spanning that. I'm not saying he's responsible for it. I think there is, like, that's a little bit, that is something. Like, that's
really?
No,
because Jay, that's like me getting mad at you for doing whatever it is you do in your off time, having no idea of how impactful it could be. Like, I can't control your gambling.
No,
habits.
you cannot. Absolutely. You
absolutely
cannot.
I can't do that. So if you showing up to the yard shit-faced for the 4th day in a row, everybody can smell it on you. You're not getting your work in because that's becoming a problem. That's where I need to step in, and I need to get your attention. But if I don't know that you're gambling, and I don't know that you're actively putting us in a spot to lose ball games, if I don't know, how would you have me address that?
I'm not even suggesting that he's responsible to address it. I just think it's 2 parallel stories going on at the same time that, like, I just don't know how you get away from it being at least a little bit weird. It's weird to me, I think, like, that they lost 2 of their, like, I don't know. And maybe this is the end of the scandal, in which case I feel like this is probably less of something to talk about. But if it becomes more of a pervasive issue with the Guardians, I don't know. Like, I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, I understand the distinction you're drawing between what can be sensed on the field and off the field, or in the clubhouse and off there. So I do understand what you're saying. My last reaction to the Manager of the Year award is from the Brewers Murphy side, and I'll make it about the Cubs because, of course, everything about the Brewers is about the Cubs. I just, like, I can't get over how, like, it's such a galling embarrassment from a transactional standpoint. I
love that you love this.
I just can't let it go. I bring it up. I know I bring it up pretty much every opportunity, but it's what I think about immediately. It's like, I just,
it's crazy.
It's like, if you told somebody this transaction was going to go down, and then you also asked them to craft what would happen after that to make it the most embarrassing possible situation for that team. The only thing that hasn't happened is that the Brewers haven't won the World Series. Like, that's really all that has failed to happen. They took Craig Counsell from them, poached them, it was a huge deal. Milwaukee very mad, Chicago, what a win. Record-setting contract. He comes in. The only thing that's happened since is that the Brewers have beat them in the division both years. They just fucking kicked their ass in the postseason right out. And Pat Murphy has now won both of the Manager of the Year awards that have been available to him since he became manager of the Brewers, right in front of Craig Counsell's fucking face. It's like, what? Meanwhile, I don't know what Pat Murphy gets paid, but to the extent that this matters, probably like a quarter of what Craig Counsell is getting paid. It's just like, what an L. What a fucking fat L. Like,
it makes you feel like they well, it does. No, because you're, and that's why I love the fact that you love it.
So
because
stupid.
Because the Manager of the Year award, I think you can boil it down to somebody who's respected, who finds themselves in a place where there is a potential for winning. And that's, if the team can come together and put it together, then that manager who we all like and who baseball likes really gets the benefit of the doubt, really gets a push, and almost to an extent gets credit for things. I mean, look, that's not their ERA. That's not their slugging percentage, right? It's the guys who are performing on the field, but they they become responsible for putting that pie together and for baking it. And it's like, so we got the most important dude that we could find on the other side, and we're bringing him in here to give us the success that we know is just around the corner if we can make just this one move.
Right.
And it's like,
my God. He's got the secret sauce, and he's going to bring it over here. And what actually happened is that he's just a bare nugget that came over without the fucking sauce. Like the sauce stayed behind and now it's lathered on Pat Murphy. And it's like, really what I'm talking about is from the Ricketts perspective, because like Craig Counsell is probably an upgrade on the guy that he replaced in Chicago. So from that end, they're probably better off than they were before. So whatever, it's just money. But like, if you're Tom Ricketts and you're like, I reset the coaching market and I picked the guy that was going to bring the secret sauce, and it's just pretty obvious that he's like fine. He's like a fine manager, but like the sauce is all about being in Milwaukee and the thing they have going on. That's just kind of like egg on the face. It has to be. You're paying $10 million a year.
And when you think about it, like, I don't know how much Counts is, I don't want to say one of the boys per se, but I don't know that his motivational tactics and his cohesion tactics are similar or along the same energy lines as that of Pat Murphy. Having known Murph, Jared, Murph, like, you know what that energy is like. You know what those conversations are like. Like, you could very well on any given day walk into his office, not speak a word about fucking baseball. You have no idea what you're talking about. Walk out of there and like, I don't know if I got smarter. I don't know if I'm dumber. I laughed a lot. Like I have no idea. Was that intentional? Like Murph, he just brings that to you. But when the lights go on, you damn well know what's expected as well. And Murph locks in. Like it's a different vibe. And I think it's great because again, to your point, Jay, hey, like this was the move that was made. This was going to, we took the hurdle that was in front of us and we put it behind us. It's now in our closet. We don't have to worry about that hurdle anymore. Fuck. What's this pit of water here? We got shit. We got to go. What's going on?
And then you add in the fact that Murphy was his former coach and then obviously was the bench coach for Counsell in Milwaukee. And it's like, is this just all about Pat Murphy? Like, is it really just Pat Murphy? And I'm not, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And that's probably really disrespectful to Craig Counsell in a way, but like from a zoom out, I'm paying $40 million for this perspective. It's like, I feel kind of foolish in a way. Let's play
this. Is there a, and you know what, this might be a difficult question to ask and answer, but is there a manager that we've watched perform over the years that you would say that guy's worth $40 million?
It is a tough.
I don't know. Maybe at the peak of Joe Madden's,
Torre?
Yeah, like Joe Madden's success, like with the Cubs, which obviously didn't. He only got one there, but yeah, I guess Joe Torre with the Yankees.
Bobby Cox,
yeah.
I actually
Kevin
think
Cash is Kevin Cash a $40 million guy?
No.
I actually think the motivation behind what the Cubs were doing kind of made sense, because what we're really talking, like the Joe Madden thing, like that's what we're talking about. He was like the finishing touch or one of the finishing pieces of pushing a team over the edge. Like I think that the idea kind of made sense, because I think a $10 million manager can make sense if you're a team that's at a leverage point where we are competing for a championship and this is a hole we can fill. But I don't know that a $10 million manager exists for a team that's, winning 72 games in a season. But I also don't know. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry now. It's like, yeah, $10 million for a manager might seem like a sticker shock, but it's like, what the fuck do I know about the managing market?
Well,
right? Like they're running the whole team in a sense on a day-to-day basis. Like what that team is $1 billion. So like,
could it be argued? The reason I thought this was going to be an interesting question is, could it be argued that the managers of yesteryear, the ones that I just mentioned, right? The Torres, the Bobby Coxes, those guys, could it be argued that they had more responsibility then and were allowed to do more, had a longer leash or had a wider reach in terms of being able to impact the day-to-day on the field? Because we know how much front offices now have a hand in what the roster, not what the roster looks like, but what the lineup looks like. So could it be argued that those guys actually had more responsibility during that time because there wasn't as much meddling from the data analytics departments? So now where managers walk in today and they've got sheets and pamphlets and just all the information you could want. And they have that available to them. And now they're having discussions on how we're going to apply this information and blah, 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 blah. Here's your optimal lineup for the day, blah, 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 blah. That seems like it's a lot to process and a lot to digest, but it also feels like there's a lot that's already been done for
it. I don't know. Yeah, I know we got other stuff, but like I could go both ways on that, because it's like, yeah, that is a lot to synthesize. That's a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
But like also it's like, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, they were like, I like the way that guy's butt cheeks look. Let's put him in the lineup.
Yep.
So it's like, this is the way I woke up today. This guy's fucking in. So it's like,
hot girlfriend.
Okay,
Draft him.
Yeah, it's like, shout out Buck Showalter. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. It's interesting. Love Murph, though. Love the fact that
he's cool.
Accepted his second consecutive Manager of the Year award in the car on MLB Network. Just like, I'm in the Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru. What do you got for me? I'll just Manager of the Year again. All right. Sounds good. Talk to you later. Murph. This came out today. This report that the Seidler family is exploring a sale of the San Diego Padres. This should come as a surprise to nobody. I just want to know if they're exploring a trade, then the fire sale would come prior to that. That wouldn't be a sale and then the new owner comes in and says, I don't want all these players. Like, that's something where the current ownership group would try to move the big contracts to make the team more, I guess, profitable or at least break even. And then you can look to sell the team. The problem is I don't know how many of those contracts are movable besides Tatis. Like,
and that's
Musgrove, no. Bogarts, no. Machado, probably not.
And that's why the conversation, I think, starts with, look, I think we have a few contracts here that we both understand would be extremely difficult on our best day to move. And that would require us taking a hit. So why don't we figure out what that hit looks like in total cost? So when we evaluate the franchise and the organization and its total value, we're going to be taking a bit of that off the top. Sound good? Because it's understood that we're not going to be able to do much with this. This is dead money here. So if you want us to just take this on, we can do that, and that will be our responsibility, but that will be factored into the price we're negotiating here. So I think that has to be a realistic way to look at this. If you are a potential suitor, if you are a group who is looking to purchase this franchise, that absolutely has to be a conversation you are having. We're going to sit down and talk about this. I like what everything looks like. I understand, but do you understand what we take on the minute that we come into power here? So if we do, let's make this make sense here.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in kind of breaking down the psychology of potential suitors or the winning bidder. Like, what are you looking to do? Like, is Fernando Tatis Jr. a guy that you need as part of the sale? Like, if I'm buying this team, he's the face of my franchise, or is it like, do what you got to do to get the payroll way down, and then we're going to have to build this bitch back up? So are you using Tatis in a trade to offload one of the bad contracts? Like, is it something like that? I mean, he's getting paid a fuck ton of money too, but he still has value.
Yeah, but do you see, I mean, and let's remember some of the key pieces that the Padres were excited about. A guy like DeVries is now an Athletic. So when you're looking towards the future, whatever pieces you have in place now, do you feel like those are going to be ready and impactful to an extent where you can afford to move on from some of the guys that you have in place now? I don't think so. They were very high on the guy behind the dish, Ethan Salas. That guy has gone into the witness protection program, basically.
Well, no pop.
What's that?
No pop.
Yeah, well, there's just, he's not the player they thought he was going to be. And he was supposed to be knocking on the door, ready to make an impact. And that just doesn't seem to be the case right now. So that's why I think going into this, you do have to evaluate, because you know that it's going to be a work in progress. But is Tatis not somebody, is Tatis not a guy that you would think that you could build around, or that you would want to be foundational for you at this point?
No, I would say if I'm interested in buying the San Diego Padres and I'm looking at all the horrendous contracts that they have, I would say it's probably in your best interest to do what you can to rid yourselves of some of that. And I think it would be wise to use Tatis to offload one of the bad deals.
So then what are you doing? Are you having the current ownership group do that dirty work?
Yeah.
Or are you doing that dirty work?
Yes.
So you don't want to have a hand in moving Tatis, and you don't want to have a say in what comes back. You just want that to be done.
What an awful message that would send to the fan base. Hey, we're the new guys in town. We're trading your favorite players.
Yeah, but they would understand that.
They would not.
How do you not if the team's up for sale? I mean, isn't that? I mean, we're not the only three who understand that's how that goes.
If you're a Padres fan and you're thinking that a sale of the team is the mark of change and a light at the end of the tunnel and new hope, and they come in and just trade all your favorite players and say, hey, it's going to suck for a while before we're ever good again, you're probably sitting there thinking, like, we've already done this. We've already sucked and not been a respectful or respected franchise, and to try to get to this point where we're going to the NLCS and what have you. Like, we've already suffered. Like, we're at the point where we have players that potentially could win.
You know, your favorite players are the very hurdles that have to be cleared to get back to being successful. So it's
smart
really not
fan. You're not like talking about the everyday, just casual fan, which is their desired market. Like they're making money off casuals.
I want to give Padres fans as vile as they can be and as intentionally ignorant as they can be at times. I still want to give Padres fans enough credit to understand the situation they're in right now. There's no way they look at that roster. I don't care how casual of a fan you are. If you're the Padres casual, there's no way you look at that roster and go, yeah, got to keep him.
Dude.
Machado, got to keep him. Bogey. There's no way they look at that
not
and
Bogarts,
say,
but Machado and Tatis, yes.
This shit is so toast. This team is not. This is a nuke the fucking team situation for me. Like I get that you guys are distinguishing between who executes that plan. If I was buying in, I would want my front office to be the one that was. And I get the PR backlash and all that, but to me, like. To me, you're going to be tied to that in some form anyway, because the team is very likely to be very bad. And like, I think it's going to be very bad, whether they choose to rebuild or whether it is forced upon them. And like, this team is just not, we talked about this at the end of the year, guys. Like, this team is just not very good. And there's no real reason, given the news that we're talking about right now, to think that like current day investment is coming to this roster. It's just going to get worse from where it was right now. And almost all of these players, with the very notable exception of Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis, are getting worse, or are already bad, to a point where they're not worth their current contracts or injured or whatever. And I get that, yeah, moving on from Manny Machado, the literal face of the franchise, would be a painful decision. The amount of money that they owe Bogarts and Machado, put Tatis aside because he's fucking good. Like, those other two guys, and Machado's still good too, but it's a staggering amount of money. It's $39 million a year through 2033. It's a ton of time still.
And so, Jay, and Jared, this is what I'm saying, man. Like, it's almost like you're put in a spot you're not going to win, because I got one or two choices as a new ownership group. What are we going to do, boys? We just bought the Padres. Are we going to roll in and not do a damn thing and then have them crucify us for buying a team that we knew was in the shape it was in and we stood idly by and did nothing? Or do you want to be the guys who roll in and go, hey, you're going to have to bear with us here, because we're all aware of how far underwater we are right now, and we are doing our best to kick and get to the surface here. But we cannot, with these anchors, even conceivably come up with a plan to get us to the surface. We're being weighed down, and we want to have a hand in what your new franchise looks like. What we don't want to do to you, new fans, is buy the team and have somebody else be the stewards of the future. We want to do that. So if we're going to get fucking crushed for not doing anything, then damn it, we'll get crushed for giving a damn. We'll get crushed for trying to make something happen. And I think that is the better play.
Why are we talking about the Padres like they didn't just make the playoffs and also pretty much keep pace with the World Series champion Dodgers in the division all year? Why are we talking about them like they finished in last?
Yeah, I'll take ownership of that because I'm very down on their trajectory. I don't think that there's literally any reason to think that this team is better next season, this coming season, than they were this past season. And I think the bar between them and what they're competing with in the division is only going to be greater. I think they are going to enter next season. So we're all on the same page. I think that given the ownership situation, this team is not heavily investing in the product this offseason, right? They're not going to go get fucking whoever, right? That's not happening.
Correct.
So if that's the case, it's my position that they will enter next season as the fourth best team in their own division. I think both the Giants and the D-backs will be better, and the Dodgers are obviously better on paper and in practice. I don't think, and given the financial situation that we've laid out, why would their offseason approach then be different in subsequent off seasons in the near term? I don't think that it will until the ownership situation is resolved. And if I'm buying in to what you guys were talking about, I think the worst thing I would want to hear as a fan is that we are going to add on to this aging core to try and chase something that's never going to fucking happen. And the thing that I would want to hear, maybe not have done, but at least hear, is the idea, like, to me, Jackson Merrill shouldn't be off the table if you're buying in as a new ownership and really want to turn this thing around, because you're getting nothing for Machado. You're getting less than nothing for Xander Bogaerts, right? Like, you might be getting less than nothing from Machado if you're able to move on from him. Like you guys have said, like, a lot of these guys are dead money. Darvish is missing all of next season. He's going to enter the 27 season with $30 million still on his deal. It's just like, to me, like, you don't see how far behind this team is because of what Jared said about how decent and good their record was last year.
They won 90 games.
But I don't understand how they build on it. Like, if you can't build on that, then what are you doing? Because you have the highest bar to reach of any team in the league with the division that you play in.
And a large part of their success comes from a place that is extremely volatile year in and year out, not just endemic to the Padres, but across the landscape.
Yes.
Your bullpen. On any given day, you can have somebody start to go on a run where they give you 2-3 weeks of shutout performances. And on any given day, those individuals could turn around and look like they don't know how to get an out for the next month as well. And so a large part of what the Padres were able to do was get themselves out of tight spots, pitch through tight spots, and they played close games. They were successful in doing so. You win fucking 90 ball games. So it's not like they're an absolute slug of a team. But in terms of trajectory, as Jay has just laid out, yeah, I think for me, the impact, I want to be responsible for it all. I want to be responsible for it all if I'm the new ownership.
Okay.
If my pessimism proves to be unwarranted, you could definitely call me out on that. I'm fine planting a flag on this because I really feel that strongly about it.
No, not at all. I agree that the direction that they're headed is not good. I'm just saying, like, they have bad contracts, but if they were to sell tomorrow, that new ownership group is not inheriting a shitbag team. Basically, is what I'm saying.
No, I think if they choose to do nothing, I think they can be a team that wins whatever 80 to 88 games next year. I don't think they are a shitbag team as currently constructed. I just don't think they can improve upon where they were last year. And I think the overwhelming likelihood is that they decline, and they decline pretty rapidly.
Didn't they just extend AJ Preller, or were there reports about talks to extend AJ Preller?
Let's see. I don't recall offhand.
I thought I saw something about that.
It's up after the upcoming season. So he updated on this. Yeah, he's under contract for only next year, but that's it.
Yeah, 6 days ago, Padres, AJ Preller discussing contract extension.
Yeah,
from
but,
the
right.
Athletic.
But he didn't get one. It's just
No.
yeah.
Yeah. And then 3 days ago, Padres GM AJ Preller still discussing contract extension. That was 3 days ago. So, I mean, who knows? Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Just like Bubs,
For sure.
you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Getting older hits harder than you expect, right? One day you wake up with stiff joints, recovery from the gym takes longer, your hair's thinning, nails are breaking, and your skin just doesn't have that same smooth glow anymore. Aging sucks, but it doesn't have to. That's where Bubs Naturals collagen peptides come in. Starting in your mid-20s, your body naturally produces less collagen every single year. And collagen is the protein that holds everything together. It's literally the glue of your body. With Bubs, you can help restore collagen levels closer to what your body naturally had in its youth. That means stronger joints, healthier hair and nails, smoother skin, and faster recovery. And it's super easy to use. Just mix Bubs into your coffee, smoothie, or juice each morning. It's tasteless, odorless, and dissolves instantly. No clumps, no weird aftertaste. And here's what makes Bubs truly different. The brand is a tribute to former Navy SEAL Glenn Bub Doherty, a national hero who gave his life saving Americans in Benghazi. Glenn's call sign was Bub, and he was the kind of guy who always pushed for self-improvement and helped everyone around him. That DNA is woven into the Bubs brand, and to honor him, Bubs donates 10% of all profits to charity, starting with the Glenn Doherty Memorial Foundation. On top of that, Bubs is built with to the highest standard. No junk, zero sugars, no sweeteners, no fillers. It's third-party tested, NSF certified for sport, Whole30 approved, and sustainably sourced from grass-fed, pasture-raised cattle. It's trusted by over 100,000 customers and was named Best Collagen of 2024 by Health.com. I've been mixing it into my diet. Been thrown into that morning shake every single morning, and that's what I'm rocking with. I do the creatine. I'll do some Bubs, and I'm huge. Obviously, I don't know if you've seen this, but my hair is amazing. My nails are perfect. My skin looks like Disney on ice, just glass. I recover much faster. I'm working out 6 days a week. That's true. That's actually true. My workout schedule is 6 days a week, and here in my mid-30s, I'm probably in the best shape of my life. I look way better than what Dallas looks like. That's for sure.
You're definitely a shape. That is for sure.
Live better longer. For a limited time only, our listeners are getting 20% off at Bubs Naturals by using promo code BID at checkout. That's just head to bubsnaturals.com and use the promo code BID and you're all set. After you purchase, they will ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you guys.
Let's go.
Oh, welcome back to Baseball is Dead Family Feud. I'm your man, Justin Havens. Do we wipe up the tears from last week yet, fellas?
No.
I hate that we have to ask this every day, every time we play this, but I guess I'll ask it again because it is necessary. Can we even win the game?
Oh, just like last week and every week before, the answer is yes.
Oh, okay.
So congratulations. You can win. Whether you will or not is very much an up to you sort of proposition. Last week you chose no. This week we will see what you choose. Dallas is going first. Jared will close it out this week. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we get to the action?
I'm assuming that it's going to be even more difficult to win this time. I don't remember the last time.
It is mathematically easier. It is mathematically easier based on the answers.
I don't trust you. I don't think we've ever lost 2 in a row. So feels like something that you're trying to accomplish is all.
No, I think that's already happened. I think I had you guys on skates at one point over the summer. You're just kind of blocking it out, kind of like trauma.
We bounce back.
That's like a classic psychological tactic.
We're like flooding.
All right. Good luck.
All right. Anyway, pop that top, Jared. Let's get out of here. All right, DB. Answers are a little bit easier this time. There's some big money ones in here. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 that are worth 30 plus. I'll tell you that. And many others in the 20s. So lots of money here to be had. Are you ready?
Ooh. Okay.
All right. As always, it's out of 100 BID fans. Shout out to the Discord. Thank you so much for your contributions. As always, we love you here on Baseball is Dead. Question number 1. Of the 8-man contemporary Hall of Fame ballot, which we've discussed on this podcast, how many players will be elected this cycle? I'm not asking for who, just how many.
2. No, 3. Fuck it. 3.
Question 2. Skenes Skubal and Paul Skenes now have 3 Cy Young Awards combined, wins combined. How many will they have combined when they retire?
6.
Question 3. You're crafting a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Name the type of jam/jelly you're choosing.
Strawberry.
Number 1 answer is so fucking dumb on that one. People are dumb. Question 4. It's been reported that Mackenzie Gore may be available this offseason. You can find that and more on the Underdog MLB Twitter handle. In your opinion, which team is the best fit to acquire him?
Ooh. I want to say the Athletics.
Okay, you just did. Not sure that's going to be the answer that you wanted, but you did say it. Question 5. Pedro, Clemens, Maddox, and Unit. Put them in order of career greatness, brother.
Oh my God. Pedro, Maddox, Unit, and who?
Pedro, Clemens, Maddox, and Unit. Go best to worst. Best to worst.
Clemens, Unit, Pedro. Clemens, Unit, Maddox, Pedro.
Thank you. All right, Jared.
Ooh. Ooh.
Hello.
Hey,
Yeah.
how we doing?
You got some work to do, bud.
Oh, fuck. I always do.
Hold on, I'm seeing where we're at. I'm going to give you a total so you know what's up.
It's going to be sub 100, I fear.
Yes, I can tell you it will be. Because I gave a disappointing answer and I got a very
Okay.
heartbreaking
Well, that's
response.
funny. That's funny.
What did you say Matt Olson to?
All right. So he was pretty confident he was sub 100. Would you believe he's actually exactly 100?
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Holy
I don't
shit.
know that. I'm not sure we've ever had this where you're exactly halfway through. So
Don't
that
fuck it up, Jared. I've done my part.
that is technically true.
Okay.
And I will say, hand to the heart, or whatever people say when they're trying to be honest, whatever humans do. There's plenty of points left on the board for you, Jared. So you don't have to be
Okay.
you don't have to be nervous. He didn't get 100 of the available 150. There's plenty left. All right, are you ready?
I am ready.
As always, shout out to the Discord. Question number 1. Of the 8-man contemporary Hall of Fame ballot we've discussed on this podcast, how many players will be elected this cycle? Just how many, not who.
3.
Question 2. I took your first answer, Dallas. It was completely out of your mouth. Question 2. Skenes Skubal and Paul Skenes now have 3 Cy Young Award wins combined after last night. How many will they have combined when they retire?
6.
Eh.
5.
Question 3. You're crafting a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, Jared.
I'm not.
You are. What pressure for the first time ever. Name the type of jam or jelly you're choosing.
That's Welch's.
No. I'm sorry. That would be totally unfair. That would be so unfair. I'm just looking for a flavor, like a fruit flavor. Like,
I don't know. I've never had a peanut butter and jelly before.
I know. That's why I included the question. That's why it's funny.
Welch's? This asshole drops the brand?
I thought that's what the question was being asked. Strawberry?
That's what Dallas said.
I don't know another fucking jam. I don't know.
You know what?
Come on! Come on!
If you
I
can't find one,
never had a fucking peanut butter and jelly.
Think fucking jam, you dickhead!
Jam? What is jam? Grape?
Yay!
Okay, there you go. All right.
The fuck?
Jam had grape up your ass.
That's crazy question to ask me knowing the circumstances, but go ahead.
I know. We're crazy here. Question 4. It's been reported that Mackenzie Gore may be available this offseason. In your opinion, which team is the best fit to acquire him?
Ooh. The Mets?
Pedro, Clemens, Maddox, and Unit. Place them in order of career greatness. Just 4 guys.
Pedro, Clemens, Maddox, RJ.
Fuck!
In order of greatness.
Yep. 6.
Clemens.
5.
Stop doing that. We're on the same team. Clemens. Fuck, dude. How do you do this?
I know. Hurry up.
Clemens. How do you put you can't put Pedro fourth. Clemens. Clemens, RJ, Pedro, Maddox, I guess. That sucks.
Thank you.
Oh.
That's so stupid.
Oh. That's funny. Jay may have the answer to this. War games.
Combined?
Not combined. Give me that order.
Huh?
Yeah, he's saying order them in career war. He's what he's saying.
Off the top of your head. Good talk.
Clemens. I think it's what I said.
Okay. Is that how you did it? All right.
That's what. I'm just assuming Clemens, RJ Maddox. No, RJ Pedro Maddox. But Pedro would probably be last in WAR.
He is.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. What do we got, Jay?
All right. Question number 1 of the 8-man contemporary Hall of Fame ballot. How many players will be elected this cycle? Dallas said 2. That was the number 1. Then tried to pivot to 3. That was the number 1 overall answer. 2 was with 40. Jared got 3. That was the number 2 overall answer for 33. So you guys have come out of the gates firing with 73 points through question 1. Those were obviously way above the other options. Question 2, Skubal and Skenes, they've got 3. How many will they end up with? Dallas said 6. That was the second most common answer for 26 points. So we're already up to 99 points. Jared tried 6, pivoted to 5. That was worth 11. That's the 4th most common answer. So we're at 110 through 2 questions. 7 was the most common answer, 29 points. Then 6, then 8, then 5. Those were the double digits. So we have, again, 110 through 2 questions. You guys are cruising right along. Question number 3. You're crafting a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Name the type of jam or jelly you're using.
If I hear a fig, I'm gonna fucking snap.
Dallas said strawberry. That was the second most common answer, 27 points. So we're at 137, moving right along. Jared came up with grape. And that was the answer we were begging him to come up with. That was the number one overall answer, which I just don't really understand. I knew it would be. Grape, jelly, and jam sucks. There's pretty much any other option is better. Raspberry, strawberry, blueberry,
Elderberry.
whatever. Yeah, just move on from grape jam, people. 173. That was 36 points for grape.
Welch's?
Grape.
Don't ask me about jam.
Grape and strawberry accounted for 73 of the available points here. So big deal that you guys were able to come up with that. 1 second. Hold on a second. Sorry, 63. 63. I knew my math. 63 of the available points. So big win for you guys there. We're at 173 total with 2 questions remaining. So we need 27 points out of the final 2 questions. Question 4, it's been reported that Mackenzie Gore may be available this offseason. In your opinion, which team is the best fit to acquire him? Dallas said, I shouldn't do this, but I will, I believe was the phrasing. Went with the A's.
Dallas.
That was worth 3 points. So
other people thinking the same thing, Jared. That's all you need to know is there were other people thinking the same thing.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Wouldn't be a good fit?
176. Yeah,
we'd love to have
That's not how you play the game. That's not how you play the game.
That's how I choose to play the game.
Jared said the Mets. That was tied for the 5th most common answer. 5 points.
Come on.
That's crazy.
So we're at 181.
The Mets want to trade for Skubal. They're not going to do that. Why wouldn't you just pivot to the next best available lefty on the market?
Totally get it. Most common answer, probably going to have some sleepless nights over this one. The Red Sox, man. 39. 30.
Oh, my. Just overwhelmingly able to identify who needs the help. And would you imagine that? Guy in their own backyard couldn't see
the
it.
Cubs
Can't see
were
the forest through the trees. Sometimes they say, Jay. Hey,
the Cubs were second with 10. We're at 181 with
Dallas
one question
does not
remaining.
Play this game under the pretense that we're on the same team.
Yes, I do. You're the only one who's ever competed against your own fucking teammate.
No,
So we're at 181. We need 19 points out of the last question. Dallas.
I nailed this. So.
Dallas answered the order: Clemens, Unit, Maddox, Pedro. Clemens, Unit, Maddox, Pedro. That was worth 4 points.
What? What the fuck?
It was not the most common answer, unfortunately. That brings you up to 185.
It's the right answer.
Oh, boy. That's
We're
the tough
fucked.
part about this is that there's so many possible
That's why he
to be
did
made.
this again. Jared,
we're
it's these
fucked.
combination questions where this fucking guy's got 39 different fucking answers to pick from.
Jared went Clemens, RJ, Pedro, and Maddox. That was a more common answer. Clemens, RJ, Pedro, and Maddox. That was worth, you need 15. The problem is that it was only worth 7, that answer. So you come up just short. 192. That's a heartbreaker, folks. And before we get all mad about,
He's so happy.
the order question,
He's so happy.
question.
Such a bitch.
You guys left it on there. You guys left points on the table. If Jared had pivoted to 7 instead of 5 for the Skubal Skenes question, you guys would be winners. If you guys had said the Red Sox instead of the either of the teams that you came up with, you would have been winners. If you had said, the Cubs and the Blue Jays instead of the Mets and the A's.
We get it. If we won, we would have won.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to lay it out so that you guys weren't-
thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. There was an alternate universe where we would have won. That's good to know.
That's fucking trash. These order questions are trash. That's Jay Hayes' way of.
That's
here. He'll throw us a softball with the pick a jam, grape, strawberry, and then you know what? List.
that's not even a layup. Apparently,
fucking tragedy.
Sorry,
Wow.
guys. Next week will be better.
That's not true.
Yeah. I don't believe him.
I mean, you're right. It's not necessarily true. It's not true or false, and it's not up to me. It's up to you.
How good can you be? MVP.
It's my pleasure to announce this year's NL Cy Young Award winner.
My Cy Young Award winner.
Back half of this pod is just a lot of dubs for me, I guess, huh? Sorry. Did I say an L for you guys is a dub for me? I didn't mean that.
You did say that.
When you guys win, we all win is what I meant to say.
That's not what you meant.
All right. The return of MVP Cy Young Hindsight. We're starting off on the mound. The Cy Young 1967. The most important thing to take away before we get started is to remember this is the very first year where a Cy Young was given out in both leagues. So that's the context. We're doing this for the very first time. And I'm just going to say that the voters struggled with their assignment a little bit, is the prelude here. We're going to start off on the NL side because I think it's interesting, but a little bit more straightforward. Mike McCormick of the Giants won. He led Major League Baseball in wins with 22, tied for the lead. He received 18 of the 21st place votes, so it was not necessarily close in the voting. He was, for context, put yourself back in the time there. He was in the 50s, an inaugural member of the San Francisco Giants team. And this is obviously 9 years later in 1967. He becomes San Francisco's first pitcher to win the Cy Young Award. So, Mike McCormick, not necessarily the first guy that you would think of. And I believe that when Tim Lincecum won the Cy Young Award, it had been from McCormick to Lincecum that somebody had won the Cy for San Francisco. So McCormick never received a Cy Young vote in any other season of his career. His 22 wins this season are 7 more than any other season of his career. And this season also marked a career high for innings pitched, which was 262 and a third. So the definition of an outlier season for McCormick. The main competitors, Jim Bunning. Jim Bunning, his resume might sound a little bit more traditional for a Cy Young Award winner. He led Major League Baseball in B WAR. He led the NL and F WAR. He led Major League Baseball in starts with 40. He led baseball in shutouts, 6, innings pitched, strikeouts, batters faced, and he led the NL in hit by pitches as well. So Jim Bunning had your classic case for the Cy Young. He's a good example. This vote here, it's a good example of when people say that old voters didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. It's seasons like this. Seasons like this and careers like Jim Bunning. Jim Bunning is in the fucking Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame. He received Cy Young votes in 1 year of his career. It was this season. He never, obviously, by virtue of finishing second this year, he never won a Cy Young award in his career. He produced 60 wins above replacement, which I realized was not a stat at the time, but he had a 3.27 ERA in north of 3,700 innings and 17 seasons. From 64 to 67, a 4-season span, Bunning produced a 2.48 ERA and north of 30 WAR over just shy of 1,200 innings. He was unequivocally a Hall of Fame caliber pitcher, and yet in his era, couldn't even get votes for the Cy Young, couldn't even get recognition as the proper place that he was. This is one of those seasons. Why is that the case? Neither of these teams won the pennant, so we can put that in the garbage right away. Giants and McCormick finished 10.5 games behind the Cardinals. They were in second place. The Phillies and Bunning finished 19.5 games behind the Cardinals and in fifth place. So if you want to draw a distinction between finishing 10.5 games back and second versus 19.5 games back and in fifth, I guess we can do that. To me, that's kind of the same thing in a lot of ways. They were not even close. The Giants went 27-13 in games started by McCormick, while the Phillies went 24-16 in games started by Bunning. That, closes the gap a little bit between what their strictly win-loss records was. Bunning had 16 starts of 0 to 2 runs of support, McCormick only had 10 of those starts, so that's clearly impacting the wins and losses. You can't even really credit a strong surge at the end by McCormick for why he sealed it up. Bunning had a 0.92 ERA over his final 7 starts. McCormick had a 3.74 ERA over his final 7 starts. Why is that funny? Because Bunning's Phillies went 3-4 while he posted at 0.92, and McCormick's Giants went 4-3 while he posted a 3.74. So it was an interesting microcosm of their entire seasons where Jim Bunning was unequivocally the better pitcher, but McCormick's team maybe got the slightly better results. This all culminated, and part of why this is so fascinating, it all culminated in a head-to-head duel on the final day of the season for both of these teams. McCormick and Bunning going head-to-head. McCormick threw a complete game, 9 innings, 5 hits, 1 run allowed, 0 walks, 8 strikeouts. Bunning had an on-paper more dominant start. He went 7 innings, allowed 4 hits, 1 run, 0 earned runs with 10 strikeouts, but his relief pitcher blew the game, and the Giants won 2-1, and obviously McCormick finished the game himself. That, to me, would be more persuasive as a reason why McCormick won the Cy Young if the game had fucking meant anything, but they weren't competing for the pennant, so that McCormick outdueled him on this last day seems to be carrying like an inordinate weight with the voters, perhaps. What other context is going on? For example, I brought up that the Cardinals won the pennant by 10.5 games. If winning is so important, why didn't somebody on the Cardinals win it? Bob Gibson pitched in 1967. Why the fuck didn't Bob Gibson win the Cy Young? Well, Bob Gibson was hurt part of this season, made only 24 starts. So that's the reason why he didn't win. And no other pitcher on the team logged more than 222 and a third innings or posted an ERA better than 2.67. Both of those were Dick Hughes. So if you're just comparing the best possible pitcher on the Cardinals, the runaway best team, to these guys, he actually doesn't really compare. Dick Hughes doesn't have a candidacy. On the Giants, McCormick was surrounded by 2 much more famous pitchers in Gaylord Perry and Juan Marichal. Perry went 15-17 with a slightly better ERA and 30 more innings pitched. That just goes to show you that the power of the hold that wins and losses had at the time. And Juan Marichal went 14-10, but had 60 fewer innings pitched with only a slightly better ERA. So his candidacy was kind of dead in the water to begin with. And just to go back to Bunning, we talked earlier in this podcast about, Dallas brought it up, I think, about Felix, and that people got over the hump about giving the Cy Young to somebody with that list or that record. They were just not ready to give it to Jim Bunning with a 17-15 record in the Cy Young. They gave it to Jim McCormick, who had a 22-10 record. I am going to take the award from Jim McCormick and give it to Jim Bunning because that just seems like the obviously right thing to do here. But that's the context for why the decision was made.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's the first thing I saw. 22 wins. The context of these two battling it out with each other at the end of the season leaves the lasting reminder in the voters' minds. Jim Bunning over 300 innings, over 250 strikeouts compared to Mike McCormick, who had 262 and a third innings and 150 strikeouts. Just
he won the Cy Young because
level.
he won 22 games.
That's it. That's why when Jay first started talking, I just went like this. 2-2. That's all it was. 22 wins. He got to 20, he got 22, and the last game of the season was a win against the only other guy that they were frankly even considering for the award based on voting.
I know Dallas has to go soon, but Jim Lonborg in the AL. This obviously hits a little closer to home for Jared. I believe you said his nickname was the Dentist.
Gentleman Jim, but he is a dentist.
I said the nickname was the Dentist.
Yeah.
That's right. He also did not receive a single Cy Young vote in any other season of his 15-year career. He tied for the league lead in wins with 22 and hit by pitches with 19. He led the AL in starts with 39 and strikeouts with 246. He would win 17 games combined in the following 3 seasons, 68-70. Obviously, there are reasons for that. But
he
just
got
to
into
give
a
some
skiing accident.
Yes, thank you for the context. The 246 strikeouts in 1967 are 103 more than any other season of his career. His other career high was 143 in 1972. When he logged 283 innings pitched in 1974, which is a similar amount of innings, he struck out only 121 batters. So half of what he did this season. It was a total outlier for Lomborg in a lot of ways. That strikeout rate, 21.8%, by the way, which wouldn't even register on a leaderboard now, was the fourth highest in the AL, and his 14.4% K minus walk percentage was the third best behind Tiant and Jim Kitty Cott. What does wins above replacement say about this? It's kind of complicated, a little convoluted. He ranked third among AL pitchers in F-WAR behind Dean Chance and Jim Kittycott, while ranking second in innings pitched behind only Chance. He ranked 12th among AL pitchers, though, in B-WAR, a full 2.5 wins behind the leader, 1.9 behind Chance, and 1.5 behind Joe Horlen, a name to remember in a second. Lomborg's 1967 season is one of only 7 in modern baseball history since 1900 to feature at least 19 hit by pitches and 12 wild pitches, joining a guy named Fred Mitchell, shout out Fred X, 1903, Tom Murphy, 1969, Charlie Huff, Victor Zambrano, Justin Verlander in 07, and AJ Burnett. So kind of a fun list. His main competitors for the award, Dallas, I know you got to go. Do you want to? Do you have final thoughts? I can lay out here for a second if you.
Thank you, Jay, because I do get a big phone call I can't miss. My only final thoughts were just congratulating the award winners. It takes a lot of work. It takes a village, as I have said. So I did want to give some special acknowledgement, especially on the Skubal side. And no, I'm not hiding it at all. They have been extremely accommodating, and they have been folks who have become friends of mine now, and they do great work, and they are so invested in their players and just getting these guys better that I did want to shine some light on them as well. So the folks over at Apex Performance in Arizona, that's where Scoobs and a lot of these other guys work out. Nottingham, a guy who we've had on with us, they really help these guys get themselves ready. And Justin Wakefield is a dude over there who's the tip of the spear over there. So just again, congratulations to all the award winners, and even to the guys who were a part of the conversation who didn't walk away with hardware. I look forward to watching them perform and eventually bringing home hardware to put in their trophy case as well. That is all I got. I'm gone. Don't be a dickhead, Jay Haig.
Oh no, there's plenty of that left. All right. So continuing on, the main competitors for the award were Chance and Cott, the top two in F-WAR, and Chance led in F-WAR, MLB and F-WAR. But both of those pitchers pitched for the same team, Minnesota, and that team fell one game short of the Red Sox, Lomborg's team, for the AL pennant in 1967. That is extremely important to remember. Let's dig even a little deeper on that, because that is just not all that happened. The Twins lost 3 straight to finish the season. Remember, they finished one game short of the Red Sox, including back-to-back games to end the 67 season to the Boston Red Sox. Dean Chance pitched the third to last game. He went 3 innings, 4 runs, and took the loss. Cott started the second to last game, lasted only 2 1/3, admittedly scoreless innings. And then Chance started against Lomborg in the season finale. Chance gave up 5 across 5 innings, and Lomborg threw a fucking complete game, allowing 3 runs and 1 earned run. So it's what we were talking about in the other one, only the game fucking mattered as much as a game can matter. It won the Red Sox the pennant and lost the Twins. Joe Horlen is the other notable name here. He pitched for the White Sox that year. He finished second in the actual voting. He received 2 of the 20 first place votes. He led the AL in ERA at 2.06, so more than a full run lower than Lomborg, and ERA plus. He led Major League Baseball in shutouts and WHIP. His ERA, again, 1.10 runs lower than Lomborg, and his ERA plus was 34 points better, while he only threw 15 1/3 fewer innings pitched. So statistically, you would probably say objectively, Joe Horlen had the better candidacy. His 10.4% strikeout rate was the lowest among AL qualified starters, and the gap between his ERA and FIP was the second largest. Obviously, FIP didn't exist. He had the lowest batting average on balls in play of any qualified Major League Baseball starter that season at 214. So there was definitely some balls in play fortune going on for Joe Horlen as it relates to that ERA. He did finish the season on a heater. He had a 0.84 ERA in 64 1/3 innings pitched over his final 8 regular season starts. The White Sox went 6-2 in those games, and he went 5-1. This is a case where, the statistic nerd in me would be like, oh, we're going to take Jim Lonborg's Cy Young and give it to Joe Horlen, whose ERA was obviously better. His statistical profile was obviously better. His wins above replacement were higher, but like you do this whole thing to advance to the postseason. And at the time that these guys were doing it, if you won the pennant, you went to the World Series. And Lonborg pitched the game that sent them to the World Series. So wins above replacement isn't adequately accounting for the idea that he won and pitched a game that was essentially as important as a game can possibly be. And for that reason, I think that more than outweighs any sort of advanced statistical deficit that Lonborg might be working with. Thus, the verdict is that Gentleman Jim, the dentist, gets to keep his Cy Young Award at the dentist office intact at Lonborg Dental Associates, while McCormick has to give his back and send it to Jim Bunning. I mean, I'll obviously handle the processing and the getting it to Bunning, but
transaction.
Yep. So we're 1 for 2 today, and that's the 2025 offseason debut of that segment.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's the right call on both accounts. Like the 60s, it was kind of just like, oh, you won more than 20 games. You won more games than everyone else. Well, you're the Cy Young Award, brother. And that's where we're at. So correct call on both.
Thank you,
Jay.
I mean, if you send your team to the World Series, like I'd rather have a 4-win season that ends with you sending me to the World Series than a 5-win season that ends with me going home.
Yeah. Do you have any nugs, final thoughts?
I guess just quickly on Skenes, I suppose. Dallas mostly covered it from a nugs and statistics perspective, but back-to-back seasons of a sub-2, we all knew he was going to win the Cy Young. Just in terms of pitchers with consecutive seasons with a sub-2 ERA in the live ball era, not pitchers to start their careers this way, just any consecutive seasons of sub-2s with at least 23 starts in each of those seasons. It's just Skenes, Kershaw from 13 to 14, Maddox from 94 to 95, Koufax from 63 to 64, and Hal Newhouser from 45 to 46. So all 4 of the previous guys are either in the Hall of Fame or will be first ballot Hall of Famers. There's no superlative that's enough for the way that Paul Skenes has started his career. And I think it's super refreshing and cool that he's kind of found this leveling off in a way of what swing and miss is necessary and what just general dominance is necessary, because we have enough of the pitchers who deliver, 5 2/3 of 11 strikeouts. And that shit's cool. And I love that stuff. But to have the type of throwback horse that he is, in what feels like a sustainable sort of formula is very exciting. And I'm excited to see him get that 2nd and 3rd and 4th Cy Youngs like we talked about at the beginning of the pod.
Beautiful. Before we get out of here, any predictions? Do you think who wins the American League MVP tonight? You
see Nightingale's tweet?
No.
So he said, tonight the MVP will be. Let me pull it up exactly because it's like right at the top of my feed now. The BBWAA winners will be announced at 7 Eastern tonight on MLB Network, with Shohei Ohtani expected to unanimously win the NL award and Aaron Judge expected to narrowly beat out Cal Raleigh for the AL MVP in the most debated award. Oddly phrased, I would say, if definitely going to be coming back to that if Aaron Judge narrowly beats Cal Raleigh in the voting, that he may have tipped us off or may just be being Bob Nightingale. That's kind of, now I'm like doubly intrigued. I'm intrigued to see like what the result is, and I'm intrigued to see if like Bob tipped it off. I am going to predict that I'll throw Bob's prediction in the trash or whatever. I think Cal Raleigh is going to win.
You do?
I do. I don't have, this is one where I feel like I'm owed a passionate take on it. And yet I don't feel that passion bubbling up inside me for which side. This just feels like a flavor thing. And I can feel compelling cases from both sides. And it's not one that is going to outrage me in either direction. I think Aaron Judge's MVP will age better. Like, I think if you just give Aaron Judge another MVP, it's like, oh, one of the greatest hitters of all time has another MVP that he deserved. Great. But Cal Raleigh's singular season, to me, is equally worthy of this sort of award, even if we're not going to be talking about Cal Raleigh necessarily as a Hall of Fame caliber player in 25 years. So
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm not outraged either way. I think both players obviously had MVP worthy seasons. And I said it a couple weeks ago. I don't think that you can argue the case for either guy and sound stupid.
No, I think the only way you sound stupid is if you're telling the other side that they're just definitively incorrect.
Right. Yeah.
Because the offensive case, like the what I'll call the traditional MVP case, is very, very, very easy to make for Aaron Judge. It's just very straightforward. And there's a little bit more nuance to the Cal Raleigh candidacy, but I'm also okay with the idea that wins above replacement and some of these advanced stats don't necessarily adequately capture everything that a catcher is doing and involved with. And so there's some wiggle room there for me as well.
Yeah. I think Judge wins, for the record.
All right. I can't do that with a Cal Raleigh jersey right here, buddy.
No,
I just can't do it.
No.
Go Cal.
Yeah. I mean, I love Cal.
I know you do. It's awkward. You know, he's right there.
Right. I don't know. Based on the voters' tendencies and what I know them to be, I think Judge takes it home. But all right, we'll be back on Monday with more Baseball is Dead. Thank you guys for listening and watching on YouTube. Stay tuned for that merch.
I am so tuned. I'm like over tuned.
It's coming. It's coming.
I'm loony tuned.
Oh yeah. Trust me, it's coming. When's Black Friday? We got like what, 2 weeks? Yeah.
Black Friday is Friday, November 28th.
Yeah, 2 weeks from tomorrow. We got plenty of time.
Dude, we are going to cruise right into it. I have no doubt about it.
No doubt about it. Yeah, trust me. Trust me. Trust the process, believe in the cause.
It's all I do every day. I wake up and I say, trust in Jared.
Yep. And we'll get there. I'll take you to the promised land. All right, guys. We'll see you on Monday.
We gone.